songs. I get it. It's good. One of the great left-wing songs. Okay, everybody chill. We're not doing folk music right now. It's not folk music hour. Anyway, we just blasted off. Dude. 420 blaze it. Okay. What happened? Where are my lib anon fans out there? Where are my blue anon fans out there? I need to know. Cuz I mean, look, there's still time. We could potentially still have martial law get implemented. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's not going to happen, but I don't know. Also, another point for dark woke, once again, another point for dark woke was when the Saturday came and passed, and that one guy who was like, JD Vance is literally a pedophile, and I'm going to prove it to you. That guy didn't come out with any information as far as I know, right? Did he make a revelation? Do we all know JD Vance is a pedophile now? Is that what's going on? Or, you know, where's the dark woke QAnon man? Where's the dark woke QAnon members at? Or blue anon members at? Where they at? I need it. I need that shit. What do we do? Do we double down? Do we move on to something different? It's a triple holiday for me. Cultural, Christian, balled up, sunny and warm, Unk live, proper day, howdy chat, howdy Unk. What is this? MAGA trying to dunk on me for the protest not ending the administration is hilarious. Oh, okay, let's hear what he had to say. So this is Andrew, hashtag I am the resistance. Okay, I'm going to start off here. For those of you who don't know, Andrew, hashtag I am the resistance, came out with an insanely viral effort post that basically spelled out that JD Vance had 3 name changes and was a menace in his Ohio town and known as a active pedophile, like a serial child molester, okay? A real Roy Moore type. I mean, it was a crazy post, right? I didn't like, I like that it is, I like that the liberals have basically lost their minds, right? And are, fighting fire with fire. I said, it's cool that we have our own version of QAnon now. So that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing in general, but critical support for the boys, critical support for Midas Touch as always. This is the hashtag resistance. You already know what it is, right? And he said in this like massive post, it went super viral on Twitter, that he was going to reveal the information. He was going to reveal the information on Saturday. Now, of course, Saturday came and passed. This guy tweets so much. I can't even find the actual tweet, by the way. Holy fuck. I've been scrolling for hours and I still haven't gotten to that. This is only like 11 hours ago. It's crazy. I feel like these guys there's no way. They have to have like a bot or something that just like constantly pumps stuff out, right? Does anyone have that tweet? I can show you the original tweet, maybe. I would like to. 300K tweets, bro. Look up top. Yeah, 304,000 tweets. Jesus Christ, he tweets so much. So, yeah, he's going hashtag beast mode. He's going hashtag blue MAGA. He's going hashtag resist. This was the initial post. You, JD Vance, you changed your name 3 times because you kept getting caught raping children in the Ohio Valley. And I have witnesses who can and will testify against you on this. I cannot wait to put you in prison for the rest of your life, you sick fuck. And then he posts my favorite, like unironically, my favorite blue hashtag resistance account, Midas Touch, and their hashtag GOP pedo ring post. This one is real, by the way. I mean, this is like, there are a lot of active pedophiles within the conservative, within the Republican Party. Like there's child molesters and stuff on the Democratic Party too, on the Democratic Party side too, for sure. But like, if this is a game like of who can molest more children, the Republicans are winning. Okay, they got their Olympic gold medalist pedophiles, right? So that's like, it's not even close. It's not even fucking close. Like they are basically like the Usain Bolt of child molestation, right? Like multiple times they've won awards at this point. Like Dennis Hastert comes to mind, right? Dennis Hastert comes to mind, where he's like a prolific pedophile who literally was the longest running Speaker of the House as a Republican. And throughout that entire tenure, he was doing so much child molestation. Like, it was crazy amounts of child molestation that he was engaging in. Like it's crazy. Anyway, let's watch this.
Political scandal that is rocking Capitol Hill. Republican Congressman Mark Foley abruptly resigned Friday after questionable emails he sent to a teenage boy.
Dennis Hastert convicted of a financial crime. Part of
Yeah, I mean, it's not a competition, but it's partially also not a competition because the Republicans are winning so hard. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, it's both not a competition because, like, duh, obviously you can't make it a competition because that would be ruthless and gross. But it's also not a competition because, like, it's like a 5-year-old trying to play basketball against LeBron James. You know what I mean? It's a blowout. Like, it's not happening.
a scheme to mask something more egregious. His molestation of children.
Hush money used to pay a man who says Hastert sexually abused him when he was 14 years old.
There are now 5 former Ohio State wrestlers accusing Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of knowing about a team doctor's alleged sexual misconduct.
43 men who say they were sexually assaulted, abused, molested, or harassed by Dr. Richard Strauss.
George Nader. His criminal history included multiple convictions for child pornography and child molestation.
This morning, a judge sentenced Ralph Shorty to 15 years in prison. Police caught Shorty in a hotel room with a then 17-year-old boy.
Ralph Shorty was one of my favorite funny, horrible stories because he also actively pushed for a law change in the state, okay, in the state of Oklahoma as a state senator. I think he was a state senator or a state representative in Oklahoma that he actually ended up getting hit by. I think he pushed for like an obscenity law around in the proximity of churches. And then he did this in the proximity of a church. So that's one of my favorite stories of Republican pedophiles getting outed specifically for that purpose. Cause like he literally got hit with his own fucking bill. It's like, if you're going to do this, you might as well not push for that bill. You know what I mean? You should have done a bill where it was like, it's actually, no, it's not obscene. And you can do obscenity around a church. That's what he should have actively pushed for. He just shot himself in the foot, you know?
Roy more defiant as more accusers step forward, alleging sexual misconduct.
This is the shopping mall where some say it was common knowledge and not a big secret that Roy Moore would flirt with teenage girls when he was in his 30s.
One accuser says that Moore initiated a sexual encounter back in 1979 when she was just 4.
Yeah, Roy Moore was such a crazy one because, like, the cops in his local, the cops in his state, in this, like, particular area that he was like actively hunting, told him he is no longer allowed to go to the mall there because he was just such an active apex predator, literally and figuratively, if you know what I mean. Like, they banned him from the mall, dude. They were like, oh, you want to get fucking Auntie Annie's pretzels? Fuck you. You're not allowed, bitch. You can't get no pretzels no more, okay? Oh, no, you want to, oh, listen, you don't understand, officer. I was not trying to actively go out and find 14-year-olds to engage in the act of molestation. I simply wanted to go to that store that has the massage chairs. And they're like, get the fuck out of here, okay? Yeah. No more Auntie Annie pretzel for you. No more fucking going to that store that sells like overpriced electronics. What was that store called? I'm forgetting. Yeah, Brookstone. Yeah, exactly. No, you don't get it. I love going to Zoomies. They should have known. They should have known at that point, okay? No. A Sharper Image and Brookstone is what I was thinking of, not FYE.
14 years old.
The new charges against Joel Greenberg.
Sex trafficking of a minor and stalking a political opponent.
Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz allegedly having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl.
Investigators examining whether he, quote, violated federal sex trafficking laws.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well. Why
trust them with your country? Hashtag GOP pedo ring. So Midas Touch are my goats. Obviously, like, this video in and of itself is packed to the is filled to the brim with like real shit. Okay, But Andrew, hashtag I am the resistance, the reason why we're watching this is because he posted this video, then said, I'm so happy this blew up, which is not something I would be saying if I was making it up. These people are fucking gross and have been covering their tracks very well, but it's all a stack of cards that's about to fall. Please check out my most recent space where I talk about it. This is basically QAnon, but from a, liberal perspective. So when I see this, when I see Lebanon, I get excited, okay? I'm sorry. I am a man who likes to collect political curios. I'm a man who likes to see motion and agitation coming from the liberal side. I'm a man who is fascinated by politics, and when I see stuff like this, I get really excited. This is Blueanon, right? It's cool. We have also our version, our legion of people experiencing a maybe psychotic episode, and and that's cool. That's fine. That's like, we need to fight fire with fire. So they posit that Democrats are a cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles who drink the blood of children. So that's what they are. I'm not sure about the blood drinking, but the rest checks out. They already worship the literal Antichrist, Trump. So we, new crazy guy unlocked, respect. But basically, Saturday came and passed, and nothing came of it. Here it is yesterday. MAGA trying to dunk on me for the protest not ending the administration is hilarious. Here's what you don't get. I don't control the universe, and I don't give a fuck what you think or say. I can admit I was wrong, but you cannot make me ashamed of doing everything I possibly could to be right. Why would the protests have ended the admin directly? There's a large factor in ending MAGA influence eventually. I said they would because I wanted them to, but I certainly understood that it was possible that they couldn't. Oh, he thought the hands-off protest would end the Trump admin. That's cool. Anyway, he didn't really, I don't think he revealed anything about J.D. Vance, Jedediah being an active threat and a pedophile in Ohio, but much power to Andrew. Hashtag I am the resistance. Andrew, we are with you. Andrew, we are with you. Hashtag dark woke versus hashtag soy right. Okay? We are with you, Andrew. Godspeed, brave soldier. Are Bernie bros back? What is this?
Punk. What are you gonna do? Go yourself. You're on my campus with that hat on. Actually, get the out.
What is this? Wait. Dude, New York Post is so funny. God damn it. What a goddamn dish rag of a newspaper this is. Massachusetts student in Trump hat berated by mustachioed leftists. Mustachioed leftists. You wrote that, bro. No shame? You could have just said like Antifa punk or something. Like, why did you write mustachioed?
Yo, go yourself. You're on my campus with that hat on. Actually, get the out of here. It's actually a public street. Get the out of here. I don't care, you Nazi. This is a public street. Off my campus. I'm gonna walk you all the way to this corner, you punk. You understand me? Go ahead. Who are you? You understand me? It doesn't matter.
Who are you? I love the masshole accent on both of them too. Who are you? It's a fucking public campus. Hey, dude. I'm walking. I'm going to keep fucking walking over here, right? All right?
Fucking Nazi punk. Get this fucking camera on my fucking face. Or what? Get this fucking camera on my face. Or what? Take your fucking fascist hat off. Would your union like that? Would your union?
Bro. You're getting pressed by a dude who has perfect nails, okay? And his nails are white, and you're getting pressed by him. It's like, it's time to turn the camera off, honestly, for your own sake. You can't be out here getting pressed by a dude who's got the sickest nails. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, God damn, dude. I mean, this is like, look at this perfectly manicured. Look at this.
Camera on fucking face. Or what?
Look, that's beautiful. That's pretty as hell. I mean, he's just slaying. He's slaying right now.
Get this fucking camera on my face. Or what? Take your fucking fascist hat off. Would your union like that? Would your union like that? Hey, you see this? I know every union guy in this town. Get the out of here. You think Trump supports unions? I know every union.
You think Trump supports fucking unions, you fucking cocksucker? Hey. Yo, this dude's a G. Place. Don't be naughty. Just because you saw mom come back in don't mean, okay, down.
Snapchat, what are you, 35, you fucking cocksucker? I'm 35. Take that fucking hat off. You understand me? Uh-huh. Take it off. Take it off, you Nazi fucking bootlicker. Oh, Nazi fucking bootlicker. Oh.
All right, which one of you is this? Be honest. Reveal yourself right now. Okay. Remember, because when we look at like 75-year-olds that are at a town hall of a Republican, I'm like, that's a Hasanabi head as a joke. But this This right here fits the profile. Union member from Massachusetts, got the nails painted. This straight up fits the profile, fits the build.
Don't be on my fucking campus with that Nazi fucking hat on. You fucking understand me, you sucker? I'm loving this. Look at this fucking Nazi. 47. This guy supports Trump. Has his fucking hat on. Look at this. I can't wait till your fucking sees this. Get the fuck out of here. I can't wait. You think they support you here? Get the fuck out of here, you sucker. You're a fucking Nazi punk. I'm a Nazi fucking punk. Yeah, you're a fucking Nazi punk. Is what you are. Take your gay fucking white gold Trump hat off. He's a fucking loser and you're a fucking Nazi punk. You boo this sucker. Boo this guy's a Trump supporter. Boo.
That's funny. Wait till your foreman sees this shit. All right. Okay. This has 430,000 likes. I see nothing wrong with this interaction. Top comment, 140,000 likes. Are we supposed to feel bad for him, or what a true Massachusetts patriot? I'll never skip a Hope Corps video. Hell yeah, this is the vibe we need. MAGA advocates for free speech and get mad when people use it. The friendliest interaction in Boston, by the way. Every time anyone puts on a Trump hat, this is exactly what they're hoping for, that they inspire rage so they can be a victim. Dude, vibe shift unlocked. Ain't nobody is fucking with this. Okay? Ain't nobody thinks Big Boy over here is in the wrong with his perfectly manicured nails going, get the fuck out of here, you fucking cocksucker. Get out of here, you fucking Nazi. Nobody thinks he's in the wrong. Oh, dude. Oh, my God. The vibe shift is happening, okay? It's happening. All this administration needed was like literally the gentlest of fucking pushback. God damn. I'm like reluctantly, I have to say, like, even Harvard putting their foot on the ground and just being like, enough, you know? We already took action against the anti-Semitism. We already fired like a bunch of people ahead of time, and then you still wanted more. So yeah, like, it's not going to happen. It's good. Like, there needs to be a fight. What are we doing here? There needs to be a fight. It's not even a guarantee. It's not even a guarantee that we are going to completely stop this administration from its fascist takeover. But like, you can't just let it happen. You know, you can't just like sit idly by and be like, all right, it's fine. Brain dead ass crowd here is so sad. Oh, what? Chatter, are your feelings hurt? Oh no, you won the election. Your president is absolutely gutting the administrative apparatus and people don't like you. Oh no, Mr. President, why won't you make it illegal to not like me? My feelings, my Fifi, my feelings, I don't like it. Mr. President. Jenny would like to question tabling for the DSA yesterday, and an NPR reporter kept asking us to disavow communism and to tell them the difference between socialism and communism. What the fuck do you do in those situations? Wait, what? An NPR reporter kept asking you to disavow communism? Why? What? What do you do in those situations? I mean, I do what I always say when people are like, I literally, whenever people are like, oh, dude, or you're a communist, I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. Okay. It seems like a pretty solid evolution, you know? Like, that seems like a pretty good end state. Do you have an issue with a stateless, moneyless, borderless, classless society? It's like Star Trek. That seems good, you know? What do you mean disavow communism? What are you talking about? Disavow what? Something that doesn't exist? Yeah, okay. I'll disavow unicorns next, okay? Why are you an NPR reporter being like, disavow communism? Are you going up to random people and demanding that they disavow unicorns? Like, what are we talking about? Disavow communism. We have a literal current fascist administrative state, and you're over here being like, but you know what's actually you need to disavow? Something that has not happened and has not existed as an end goal. So stupid. But isn't there a shoegaze album release NPR could be covering? No, there's plenty of great journalists at NPR. It's just like, I find it really stupid that they would make that a major point of contention. New Deal Democrat? What? Say what Richard Wolff says. Socialism is when the state does stuff. Communism is when the state does a lot of stuff. What do you want me to disavow exactly? Yeah. The more the state does, the more socialism happens. Anyway. Oh yeah, this is another one. This time Nancy Mace. In one of the lowest moments of American politics, Congresswoman Nancy Mace is caught on her own camera saying "fuck you" to a constituent who simply asked her if she's holding any more town halls. MAGA is a disease of the mind.
Every year. You want to keep going? Do you want to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year. Yeah.
Are you doing a town
I've already done one. I'll do plenty more.
this year? Was a simple question.
You're always invited. By the way, I voted for gay marriage twice.
What? Hey, what is going on, dude? Short's too short, big dog. How dare you? That's the perfect length, okay? That is the perfect length of short. I'll have you know I voted for gay marriage twice. Sick. We also saw you on camera literally exchanging spittle with a MAGA lesbian. So we know that you like to swing, Nancy. That's not surprising to us. You know what I mean? Like,
what does that have to do with me?
I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do, absolutely.
That's funny too. Yeah, a butch lesbian MAGA supporter. Wait, really? It's always funny to me that people do not know that Nancy Mace is a straight up swinger. And during COVID, there was a video of her at one of her swinger parties. I'm not going to play it for you because it's fucking gross, okay? But it's like what I assume is happening in the Midwest all the time, where like people over the age of 50 get together and they just do like the grossest sexual acts of all time, okay? Stop using gay marriage as a talking point is literally bare minimum. Also, like, what do you mean? I voted for gay marriage. Oh, sick. That's cool. Okay. Like, what? I didn't know. Is there something I don't know that you know? Is there something happening here? It's only gross because it's them, to be fair. Yes. No, it's gross because it's a bunch of... Look, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, okay? But if you watch this video, you will understand why I'm saying it's fucking gross. Now does anyone have the video? Now we're going to have to watch it. And you can make up your own mind on whether or not this is gross or appropriate or fine, you know? Yeah. Oh, here it is. GOP Congresswoman Nancy Mace is caught on video in gross act with 2 women and a man. I love her. By the way, that's my favorite. Like, the butch lesbian MAGA supporter is my favorite because she straight up looks like, what's his face? Fucking, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. Oh my God. The bodybuilder guy, Ziz. Straight up. Like, this is Ziz reincarnated. And then he throws up, by the way. He throws up. What the fuck is this? Hey, yo, Daily Mail is crazy. Yo. Daily Mail, you can't autoplay the next video all of a sudden. God damn. Anyway, luckily it was censored. Holy shit, that was crazy. I didn't even know that was happening. That was some freaky nonsense right there. Okay, I lied. That's gross. Please yuck that yum. Yeah, that's Nancy Mace, dude. That's fucking Nancy Mace. And she's out here being like, she also used to be pro-trans. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this is all completely just... The 180 that she has had on all of these issues is directly because she's like, I am trying to make a name for myself in the Republican Party. It's all a grift. Now, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, you're a politician. It doesn't matter what your personal convictions are. What matters is what your legislative agenda is. What matters is what you're rallying around. And it's very clear that she is a grifter piece of shit. And doing all this because her district got more red.
Yep. Absolutely. If you want to get in my face about town halls, you should have shown up to one last year. Yeah, because you're getting in my face about a town hall. You could have gone last year. Would you like me? I have town halls every year. I have over a dozen every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go into this spiel about
you could have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And
I had over a dozen.
2024. But
Where were you the year before that? Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question.
because you know what? Because you people on the left are crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, you're a public servant. You're a public servant in public. This interaction is entirely too reasonable. The notion that this is, this was another one of my favorite Nancy Mace takes, where she goes to the Republican prayer breakfast and she's like, I'm getting my back blown out by my fiance. I will be having rough sex later. I love to have sex before I get married. Anyway, but that's another great Nancy Mace moment. But what I'm trying to say here is like Kyrsten Sinema is a great example of a politician who is a Democrat or was a Democrat, right? Like she was getting fucking yelled at all the goddamn time by her constituents too. It's like Hassan defending the public harassment of a queer woman. True. Like you're a public servant. This is one of your constituents. Them asking you in the gentlest ways possible when you're going to have another town hall. If this interaction is so damning for you and is so scary for you and is so unacceptable for you, like you shouldn't be a politician. I'm sorry. What the fuck are we doing here? Like what are you supposed to be? Are you a god? Are we supposed to just like get down on our hands and feet and just beg? Get down on our hands and knees, sorry, and just be like, oh my God, thank you so much, Nancy Mace, for doing whatever the fuck you want to do. Get out of here. Oh, this was really funny. This was one of Kyle's best tweets. Kids and their dad took me out for barbecue for my birthday. 47 never felt so good. That's a lot of beans, you nasty ass bitch. Oh God. It is though. That's so much beans, bro. Oh my God. She's eating the fucking maximum amount of beans. Yeah, I guess Kyle wasn't the only one who was hungry at that moment, you know? FYI, is now saying that the guy who blew her back out before the prayer breakfast, one of the state's worst revenge prawner. Dude, you could not have written that worse if you tried. I have more questions now than I did before I read this statement. Please try again, okay? Go back. I know you got excited to explain something and you know, that excitement caused you to type something out that is indecipherable. Do it again.
Absolutely fucking crazy.
I'm absolutely fucking crazy.
You are, and get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Fuck you.
Yeah, she said he raped her on the floor of the house. Shit was crazy. Wait,
I'm not.
what?
I'm not. I won by so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question.
By the way, it's so funny that Republican accounts looked at this interaction and between a constituent and their public servant and tried to make it seem, because I hadn't watched the full video, I thought, judging by what like End Wokeness and like Libs of TikTok was saying, that like I thought this was going to be a situation where this guy was just like laying into her. Like I was ready to defend my king here, okay? I was ready to defend him unconditionally, uncritically, okay? And it's not even that. He's just like, when are you going to do a town hall is all I asked you. You are my fucking public servant. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is the most normal interaction. Judging by End Wokeness and Libs of TikTok, that was your first mistake. No, it's not. I like to find impossible to defend situations like this and then try to defend it, you know? Is there a way to defend the indefensible?
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Try it again.
Yo, if you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen, Nancy. What the hell is this? What do you mean? You're a public servant. What do you mean, fuck you?
What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
You say fuck me?
Yep, I sure did.
First thing you're gonna say to me is fuck
Absolutely.
me for asking you a question?
Get the fuck out of my face.
Fuck you.
Now.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Take me on, baby. Say that.
Oh, you couldn't take me on, baby. Oh, she is so nasty.
The fuck away from me.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Anyway, Nancy Mace, out of her dang mind, out of her dang rocker, off her rocker. So there's also this story that I want to cover, obviously being a Gen Z man. Gen Z women are choosing older men over guys their own age, and it's not because they're sugar daddies. This is a New York Post article. I have an interesting perspective on this. I think I have a critical analysis over this. I also have a, this is necessary for Chad Vice. We'll talk about that in a second, but what is this?
Do you do in the shower? What's your routine?
A regular shower or a long shower or a super shower?
Well, I feel like I kind of want to run down of all of them.
Super short shower is your everyday. That's hop in the shower, keep your head leaned so you don't get your hair wet. Face wash, body wash, out. Easy peasy. That's 5 minutes.
Okay.
Then a regular shower includes hair wash. So that is get in shower. I usually start shampoo. I do conditioner. I let the conditioner sit in my hair while I do body wash, and then I'm out.
An everything shower?
No, after that is just a long shower.
Okay.
That's the same step, but while the conditioner's in your hair, you shave.
Yes. Okay.
Which is different than an everything shower. Everything shower starts before you even get in the shower.
Okay.
This is crazy. I do not have different types of showers. I just have shower. It's one type. I didn't even realize, like, for ladies, I didn't realize it was like that. Your unk is on my TV downstairs. Open mind, PBS. Nice. Dude, being a woman is so goddamn complicated. It's crazy to me. It's wild. It's hard. It's difficult as hell to be a lady. Don't get me started on an everything bath. It includes dinner. No, every time I go in the shower, I got a loofah or whatever it's called. I don't even know if it's a loofah, but it's like, it's just like a washcloth that I use full body. And once a week I do, or twice a week, I also shampoo and condition my hair. That's it. That's it. But like the shower is the same. Wait, you don't shave? No.
Everything shower for me starts with hair oil in my hair. Leave it 30 minutes while I play a league game or something. And a face mask, so then I get in there, like a mud mask, I get in there, I can wash it off. So I get the mud mask off, I get the hair, I do shampoo, and then I do a hair mask, and then I exfoliate. So then I go freaking sugar scrub everywhere. Sugar scrub, sugar scrub, sugar scrub. And that's when you get that's like coochie shave.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to exfoliate before shaving your coochie, because then you don't get bumps. No one talks about that, but we should. So you got to exfoliate coochie, and then you shave. You got to go multiple directions. I still haven't figured out how some people have invisible pores besides laser. I don't understand that. But anyway, shave your legs, shave everything. Sometimes in an everything shower, because I just need that. That's what I'm using my most expensive hair mask. I'll clip my toenails. I know, it's crazy.
Okay.
Finally, I wash out the hair mask. I get out of the everything shower. Then you put your whole body in lotion or oil. And then you put on all of your serums and all your everything. And then you have a beautiful day.
That's so much. That's so much, dude. First of all, no man deserves that. Okay? But I guess she's doing it for herself. And certainly Ludwig is a man who definitely doesn't deserve all of that. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's why it's called an everything shower. No, men should do like half of this. I'm telling you, I would probably die if I had to work this much. It's just so much. It's so much stuff to do. So many things to do. Damn, a 15 and 5 would solve this. That's what I'm saying, dude. Face wash, exfoliate, 8-hour serum should be on everyone's routine. Add moisturizer if you need it. Everything showers are like once a week. I would just not shower if I had to do half of this shit. I don't know. I mean, that's so much. That's so much. I mean, I am also a dude who only recently got into face wash and also moisturizer. I bet Hasanabi doesn't wash his knees. No, I do. I wash below the knees. I also have a washcloth or like a loofah. I don't know what it's called. But it's like a stringy thing. It's pretty good. I exfoliate, but it's like the exfoliation process is happening at the same time that I'm getting the body wash on my body. You know what I mean? Like, do you use the same one for your body, for your face? No, I don't put it on my face. I don't exfoliate my face. I just use what is it called? It's just like, is it Clearasil or something? CeraVe, I don't know. It's like fucking shit that you get at CVS. CeraVe, yeah, CeraVe. But I spent most of my life using all-in-one. You should really only use chemical exfoliants for your face, not mechanical ones. Yeah, I don't use any mechanical exfoliation on my face, but it's not because like I am knowledgeable on it or nothing. CeraVe is BDS. Wait, really? What the fuck? Wait, actually? Isn't there two that has the exact same name? There's two. Also, I didn't even know that. Aesop has nice body scrub. It's a green tube. Yeah, I have Aesop. I use Aesop for my body. You should use Korean face products. They are the best. Also, it's messed up that they have face cleansers. They have face cleansers that are literally the same name. In any case, I don't even know what it is, but I didn't even know that it was BDS. My mistake. Boycott the witness.news, target CeraVe. Okay, first of all, that's the witness. That's not the official BDS list. So chill out, okay? But secondly, I don't really give a shit. All right, fuck them. Yeah, you know, I won't use it if it is on the official one. CeraVe is owned by L'Oreal. L'Oreal's a warm friend of Israel. After sending a letter to the Arab League with information helping the boycott, they paid $1.4 million fine and issued an apology before fostering a new relationship with Israel with heavy investment and even operating a factory in occupied Palestine. Oh, that makes sense. It might be on the list then if they did that, because that's like a classic targeted boycott thing when they open up a facility. I don't think CeraVe is on the BDS list. CeraVe is an Israeli product though. They're usually blue and white if you noticed. No, the product I have is not blue and white. And also, what? That doesn't mean anything. What are you guys saying? You see blue, anything that's blue and white is actually pro-Israel. Yeah, we're reaching. Anyway, yeah. Nivea is another one, right? Almond Joy. Argentina is boycotted now. So is Greece. Oh no. That's why the American flag is blue and white. CeraVe and Aesop are both on the list. Look it up. Dude, you already know what my official policy is, okay? I only care about the official list. You understand me? I only care about the official BDS movement list. And even then, there are also like internal drama that happens with even the official Palestinian BDS list, okay? Having said that, if it's not on here, then no. Don't give anybody grief over shit like this, okay? There's also a difference between like the actual targeted boycotts and the organic boycott targets, okay? Consumer boycott priority targets are different than organic boycott targets. I don't like having to relitigate this every single day, especially because people then come in and they say, well, my BDS list has it. And it's like, okay, but that's your BDS list. That's not the BDS list, okay? You and Frogan are both on the BDS list too. All of us chatters are complicit. Yeah. Yeah, why do you stream on Twitch? Is owned by Amazon and his BDS go to Kick? Exactly. That's like, you know, that's a pressure target. What's the difference in propriety and organic ones? Organic boycott targets are like McDonald's. McDonald's Israel, after October 7, came out with a statement to be like, we're giving free Big Macs to all the Israeli occupying force soldiers that are hungry after a long day of doing genocide. So then everyone obviously was very resentful towards that, got very mad, and that became like organically became like a boycott target. Same with like a lot of these other brands as well. Starbucks, I don't even think is on the organic boycott target list anymore, but it might be. The Starbucks one also came out because the Starbucks unionization efforts, during the Starbucks unionization efforts, there was I forget which branch it was, but there was a union organizer who wore a Palestinian pin, and they fired her for that pin, and then it turned into a major thing as well. I don't even think it's still officially on the list, but like Coca-Cola was added onto it recently. That's why I stopped drinking Diet Coke. That's why I guzzle these bad boys now. Microsoft, I believe, was added on the list recently for Minecraft. Was it Minecraft or some. Like Microsoft was added onto it, but like it's not. Like I can't fucking switch over to Linux. You know what I mean? Like there is within the bounds of reason. I think it's like Xbox was recently put on, and it turned into a priority target. But cancel your Xbox Game Pass subscription, boycott Candy Crush, Minecraft, Call of Duty, boycott all Microsoft gaming products, including Xbox branded consoles, headsets, accessories, all games published by Microsoft labels. Sorry, can't game anymore. This is why I don't game. That's it. Sorry. No, Microsoft was added on as a priority target on April 7th from the Palestinian BDS National Committee. Yeah, they fired workers for trying to speak out about them and even banned Palestinian Skype accounts for just trying to contact their families. Why did I think Dr. Pepper was a Coca-Cola product? I don't know. I mean, it's okay. A lot of different sodas are sometimes literally owned by competitive conglomerates in different markets. So it's understandable to get it confused. Just try your best, chat. That's it. Okay. Just try your best. That's my suggestion. Try your best. Do your best. Oh, speaking of people that are very upset, I wanted to talk about Kneecap. As you guys know, I went and I live streamed the Kneecap Coachella, the Kneecap Coachella performance. And in that performance, they obviously had a bunch of slides, one of which said one of the slides said, fuck Israel, free Palestine. And everyone has now that it went viral on Twitter, all of the pro-Israel accounts have been freaking out over this in what I suspect is the funniest way to get mad about anything. While these guys are while Israel is straight up massacring Palestinians every fucking day, okay, doing a genocide, continuing to do their genocide with unlimited support from the United States of America, these guys are now very, very mad. Stop Anti-Semitism is like, contact Golden Voice. And it's too late. They already fucking live streamed it on my live stream, you know? I can't believe it. I can't believe that they said free Palestine and fuck Israel. How dare they? But the reason why I think it's like kind of funny, and I know they don't give a shit about this at all, and they welcome this kind of retaliation, not dissimilar to myself, was people bringing up the Nova Festival. I said earlier the frontman of Disturbed was coming at you and Kneecap on IG. Yeah, the frontman of Disturbed is a massive Zionist. They've been losing their fucking minds at me, and I got them defending Bono, Lamau. Kneecap doing more for Ireland and standing up for something in a year than Bono has done his whole career. They got the same type of hate for when they came out with Brits Out. They don't mean the people, just the British government. Yeah, I know there was a line on that from the Kneecap movie as well. But sorry, you guys brought up Disturbed. That's how I clear my throat. Yeah, you can't even say fuck Israel anymore, okay? You can't say fuck Israel anymore, but you certainly can't say fuck Israel in a festival setting. Why can't you say fuck Israel in a festival setting? Because October 7 happened and Nova Festival happened. So, in my opinion, it's one of the funniest ways to be like, how dare you criticize Israel in a festival setting when October 7 happened? Okay? That's insane. That is an insane way to frame this conversation and to try to personally victimize yourself. Here's Elon Levy, of course. This was my favorite one. Fuck Israel at a music festival after the Nova massacre is like fuck America at a World Trade Conference after 9/11. First of all, who would ever do such a thing? Who would ever say such a thing? I mean, that's crazy. You forgot the rest. Fuck Israel, free Palestine. The Disturbed lead singer's post on Instagram. I didn't know. What is this? Fixed it for you at Kneecap, at Hassan D. Piker, at Coachella. Fuck Hamas. Free Palestine is a human rights scam being fed to you by radical Islamists who openly call for the death of all Jews and non-Muslims. I doubt you'd be applauding like sheep if this were the Noah Music Festival and you were slaughtered like sheep. Oh, I love this guy. He is so fucking insane. Soy Right with leftist meme lengths. I know they're even memeing like leftists now. So I like the idea that like the festival settings are now eliminated. Okay, no more saying mean things about Israel in a festival setting. Okay, because October 7 happened. Like that's you can't do that. You just simply can't do that. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to say fuck Israel at any setting. As a matter of fact, okay. I'll have you know, October 7 happened. You are not allowed to say fuck Israel. What are you talking about? You are not allowed to say that Israel is doing a genocide because October 7 happened. It's just like, dog, Israel has done multiple October 7s every fucking week. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gives a fuck about this kind of crying, I think, especially at this stage. Yeah, America killed 1 million people right after 9/11, and none of them had anything to do with it. Yeah. I'm not typically a chatter in here, but I've been watching you for a while on YouTube. I wanted to say thank you. I used to be down the alt-right pipeline, and your videos and streams steadily helped me get out of a lot of alt-right spaces. Hell yeah, chatter. But anyway, they're big mad about this, and I always love when the Hosber accounts get their notes from something, and I don't know if there's like a Telegram channel or something, but like they literally will all post the exact same shit at the exact same time, and will start crying about it at the same exact time. And half the time, it's something that just like most people agree with, that they're posting and freaking out over, which I always find to be really funny. I always find that really funny because everyone else looks at these guys like hysterically freaking out over someone saying fuck Israel and free Palestine, and you just kind of look like a loser. You look like a sweaty ass loser. Useless maggots. I'll be working to make sure that you are banned from the USA. You useless bleep. If I see you first, you'll get a ball-peen hammer in the head for supporting Islam. Hello, Nazis. May you die in hell. Anti-Semitic scum. Your anti-Semitism will have consequences, dire ones. Mark my words. This is not a threat. It's a promise. Your career is all but over. Palestine. I'd love nothing more for you all to die in a house fire. Fuck Palestine, you Nazi cunts. Ay, ay, ay. What the fuck is this? These are the lads getting attacked mercilessly. These are the lads getting attacked mercilessly for saying correct things like fuck Israel and free Palestine. Yeah. I will say after a entire year and a half, after an entire year and a half of just like exhaustive live streamed child murder, unlimited child murder, I don't think anybody gives a fuck about this. Like, you can cry about it all day, every day. I mean, keep crying, but your tears mean nothing because we see you cheering for unlimited child murder. So, boo-hoo, okay? Go take it up with the government that you choose to defend. They're supposed to come back to the U.S. for a tour in the fall. Think they're going to get denied entry for shit like this? There's a high likelihood, for sure. On the positive side, the church my parents attend acknowledged the genocide in Palestine during Easter service. Things are different now. Exactly. Toothpaste out of the tube, man. Cat's out of the box. You can't do shit. You can just cry all day. And as I've said, as I've warned over and over again, the more these guys lose their grip, the more people who want to be pro-Israel on the timeline lose control over the conversation. The more people are aware of the depraved ways in which they are defending Israel's genocide, the more aggressive they will get. But it's over. Oh, Fatlaw had a statement about kneecap. Oh, is Fatlaw? Oh no! What the hell?
I just want to say this about the Coachella situation.
Am I lying when I say that's what she sounds like? They're calling me Eve Shatlow on the timeline. Racism. We need to... I can't deal with the racism. Eve Shatlow. Oh, the classic Middle Eastern accent, famously known in the Levant. You will recognize this as a classic Menoresian accent.
And leaders especially Jewish leaders in the music industry. You know, I personally feel like I have been screaming fire inside a burning building for the last 6 years. I'm not going to sit here and ask today why, when I was publicly shamed and very publicly vilified for being a proud Jew and a Zionist 6 years ago, and very publicly
I'm the fucking victim here. I am. Why can I not say that I am the victim? Fatlo, me. I cannot deal with it. Zionist. Look at my regional accent.
blacklisted, very publicly chased on social media. My hate name trended at number 2.
My hate name. She's talking about you, Fartlow. Dude, she said my hate name. She's talking about E Fartlow. She calls it her hate name. Oh, it's so cool.
2 worldwide on the day I was cancelled from my profession after 15 years at the apex of music and film journalism as a very popular music and film journalist. I'm not going to ask today why nobody came out in defense of me, why nobody in a position of leadership and power said that this was wrong.
Yeah. Calling me E Fatlo is a reminder. It's just like a pogrom. Why the hell is this allowed? Why can't I go out and get every person fired for calling me E Fatlo? It's night of the long knives, you say?
What I'm going to ask of you today, however, is to notice how it went from one female, Jewish, proud, truth-saying music journalist pointing out
Yeah, I remember when Seth Rogen, my latest fit, tablet mag, the social media pogrom, and then Seth Rogen replied with fart emoji. Oh, that was awesome. And then Dov Hicken, Seth, how pathetic are you? How desperate are you to be liked by Jew haters that you're trolling a Jew on their behalf? How shall I say this in words you'll comprehend? You're a shanda, but you can come pick on me if it'll keep your creepiness away from Jewish women. Seth Rogen is pro-Palestine? Yeah, you guys didn't know? Seth Rogen has like so many statements about how creepy the pro-Israel crowd is in general. Of course, the free speech advocate gave a platform to the anti-Semites, Kneecap, who've also been accused of sexual assault prior to their fame. How fitting. Immediately also hitting the sexual assault button. Stereo Gum wrote about this. This is sick. I like it. Is Seth Rogen a Hasanabi head? No. And I can't reply. I can't reply with the fart emoji to her because unfortunately she blocked me a very long time ago. E Fatlo blocked me a very long time ago. Hassan Piker helps Kneecap livestream Palestine amid message amid Coachella censorship. Kneecap have been vocal about their support for Palestine during the ongoing Israeli genocide to the point that they faced censorship several times. This included last Friday at Coachella when their Free Palestine Jumbotron message and chants were omitted from American live streams. Last night, April 18th, the Northern Irish rap trio, Irish from the north of Ireland, not Northern Ireland, leftist social media personality Hassan Piker was advocating for Palestine during the second performance of the festival. After offering his help on X last weekend, Piker joined the group on stage for weekend 2 and live streamed the set via his Twitch channel. The screen behind the group read, Israel's committing a genocide against the Palestinian people. It is being enabled by the U.S. government who arm and fund Israel despite their war crimes. Fuck Israel, free Palestine. DJ Prove helped up a Palestinian flag. Watch Piker's live stream here and see the footage below. Hell yeah. Yeah. But for those of you who are wondering about Seth Rogen, yeah, here, this is an old article from 2020. Seth Rogen, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel. Actor says when he was younger, he wasn't told Palestinians lived on land that became the Jewish state. This was on Mark Maron's podcast, actually. As a Jewish person, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. Rogen told the comedian and actor Mark Maron in an episode of the WTF podcast. What the fuck, buddies? What the fucking ears? They never tell you that, oh, by the way, there were people there. They make it seem like it was just sitting there, like the fucking doors open. More than 700,000 Palestinians were driven out of their homes or fled in the fighting in the 1947-49 war, which also is the Nakba, known as the Nakba. It's not just the 1947-1949 war, but instead it is quite literally just ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, 700,000 of them from their ancestral lands, never to be allowed to return. Rogan and Maron, who is also Jewish, were speaking to promote Rogan's new comedy, An American Pickle, which tells the story of a Jewish immigrant from the 1920s who falls into a vat of brine and wakes up in modern-day Brooklyn. The pair talked and joked at length about Israel and also spoke about anti-Semitism, which Rogan said remains pervasive and prevalent. I remember my dad frankly telling me, people hate Jews, just be aware of that. They just do. And it's honestly something that I'm so glad was instilled in me in a young age, because if it wasn't, I would constantly be shocked at how much motherfuckers hate Jews. Zionists have pointed at the Holocaust for centuries of bloody anti-Semitism as evidence that the Jews will never be safe without a state. Rogan, however, argued, you don't keep something you're trying to preserve all in one place. Asked if he would ever go live in Israel, Rogan said no. Maron replied, I'm the same way, and we're going to piss off a bunch of Jews. By the way, in my conversation with Steiny, one of the funniest things he said that he actually omitted from it, which actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Steiny said something that I think organically that I think is like kind of funny about Israel and Israelis. I'm not going to repeat it, but he he deleted that part of our back and forth where we talked extensively about Israel, but it just doesn't, it's not a gamer moment. It's more so, it doesn't do it justice. Like me repeating it doesn't do it justice, because in the moment when he said it, because it's kind of problematic, but not in the direction that you would think it is. He didn't say something like anti-Semitic. He said something that's like anti-Arab. But the reason why I'm not repeating it is because like, but it was funny in that moment when I heard it from the perspective of like someone who is, from the perspective of someone who I suspected was like, definitely, he called them brown Jews. Didn't he? No, he just said like, because when they went to Israel, he was like, I mean, it's not that. From the perspective of like someone who is an American Jew, it was kind of funny to hear that, where he was like, yeah, they're Arabs. That's what he said. Never going to tell you any secrets. I mean, it's not. I don't think it was like a bad thing. I thought it was instructive about the perspective the perspective of Israel from like a dude who doesn't really think about this stuff that much. You know what I mean? And also, he's right. It's just that Israelis would get very mad at that. Anyway, most recently, Peter Barnard, prominent Jewish American political commentator, was both derided and lauded for commentaries in which he questioned whether he could remain both a liberal and also support the Jewish state while millions of Palestinians continue to be denied basic rights. This was all the way back in 2020, by the way. But yeah, Seth Rogen has been on the fuck Israel tip for a minute. Let's get back to EFAT, now.
Then creeping anti-Semitism in progressive and social justice movements. I'm asking you to recognize how it went from that to very shortly, in a few years later, having a band be accepted to play at Coachella, and by the way, this summer, all over Europe at mainstream festivals, including...
It's time to stop. Kneecap, it's time to stop. Why is it that there's just only one method? If someone is pro-Israel, they got one move, okay? Expert move. Call the fucking manager, get this person fired. It is so crazy. Platform. Fire this fucker. She has a Glasgow uni accent. They always think they're right. It is fucked up to be Irish and pro-Israel? I know. It makes no fucking sense.
Glastonbury, including Primavera, I'm asking you to consider your position of responsibility as a leader, either as a Jew or as a non-Jew who believes in protecting civilization against terrorism. I am asking you to use your...
No, I know she's Scottish. I'm responding to I would never. No. We know she's Scottish, chatters. What the fuck? No, that other chatter was talking about, like, isn't it fucked up to be pro, like, in general? The chatter was making a general statement about Irish people and their support for Palestine. She's Scottish. My 2-year-old just laughed at you doing that accent. Keep doing the accent. Oh, don't worry. You are You are the terrorist, you genocidal scum. I can't tell if the shadow's talking about me or Eve Shadlow.
Responsibility to stop being selfish, to stop being afraid, to use your position of power to say absolutely not. I will not accept promotion of messages that endorse terrorism, that endorse what happened to over 350 innocent civilians at the Nova Music Festival in the south of Israel on October 7th, where they were gang raped and butchered by terrorists. Absolutely not. We are performing arts festivals, we are music festivals, we are places of peace.
Oh, yeah, okay. Only fucking pro-Israeli messaging allowed at festivals. Only pro-Israel messages on festivals, right? Talk about the genocide, but as a good thing. Say it's good that Palestinian children are being murdered.
And tolerance and unity and togetherness, and we do not condone.
What do you mean we? You even still have a career? Yeah. Are you okay? Music has never been used to send a message, ever. Never political. Yeah. I'll have you know, Israel invented the concept of a music festival. Another gift that Israel gave the world, alongside carne asada tacos and doner and punk rock. How dare ye? And Hamas. I meant Hamas.
Violence, terrorism, sexual assault, and murder. I am asking you, I am demanding you to take a stand now and use your position of power.
Yeah, please take a stand now and fire everyone you can. After all, if we can't assassinate them with drone strikes, then we must assassinate their careers in the Western world for the crime of speaking out against a genocide.
Because this is what's happened in 6 years. You've gone from having a music journalist exiled from the industry to having Coachella, one of the biggest music festivals in the world, mainstream anti-Semitism and also mainstream terrorism. In this very short space of time.
Yeah. Yeah. E. Fartlow is awesome because she's like, when I got fired, okay, which I don't even know if she got fired. I think people are just like, yeah, we don't want you writing for us anymore because your writing is mid and you suck. Okay. She is just like, if you have an opinion on live streamed child Holocaust, okay, which is what Israel is doing. If you have a negative opinion on that, you should literally be fired. You should never be able to have a job ever again. That's the main argument here, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't appreciate that we are doing a Holocaust of children in real time, live streaming it, and you look at that and you think, wow, that's seemingly unconscionable. I think that's really fucked up. Fuck the country doing that. Then you should be fired. And it's crazy because, like, she's also talking about, like, people not wanting her to write for, I don't know, Stereo Gum as the first shot across the bow. This is, you know, this spelled real trouble. No, it's not. It's not like you being a annoying person to be around and people not wanting to read your dog shit writing does not spell anti-Semitism. Okay? It's ridiculous. There's anti-Semitism, and then there's people being like, yeah, I don't want to hear from you. Like, those are two separate things. How wonderful. How cool. How awesome. Yeah, how is this any different than Kevin Sorbo? Exactly. Kevin Sorbo claiming he can't get work because he's a Christian. No, or Michael Rappaport did this too. Michael Rappaport had the audacity to come out and be like, I can't get any jobs in Hollywood because I'm a Jew who's outspoken about Israel. Brother. Really? That's what really? I mean, come on, dude. Come on. The jokes right themselves. Yeah. They that Seth Rogen tweeted farts at me. It was my hate name that trended nationwide on Twitter, not his. I was the butt of the expertly constructed joke by a man with decades experience as a celebrated Hollywood asset. A fat emoji. I mean fat lo, and calling me by my hate name made me the shite of the butt. Don't use a hate name, Hassan, please. No, Hassan, please. Fuck shite. Joe Rogan is an ape who behaves like a primate in response to Douglas Murray, who has evolved by thousands of years. She also thinks Muslim Brotherhood controls every institution, every major institution, just anti-Semitism with a new coat of paint. Yeah. It is pretty funny where it is pretty funny that these guys are basically fucking doing the parasitic nature of the Islamic mind must be wiped out. Like literally just like dehumanization and propaganda that justified the Holocaust in the minds of many German people being relitigated, but this time instead of Jew, they substituted Jewish people and the false smears against Jewish people for Arabs and Muslims and protocols of the elders of Ramallah. And it's wild because like the more this shit happens, I'm telling you right now, the more this shit happens, the more people feel resentful towards Israel. And it doesn't just stay at resentment towards Israel. This does unironically have a negative effect because Israel constantly being like, we're the Jewish nation state. We're doing this for Judaism. If you hate our live stream baby murder, then you must hate all Jews across the board. The more you do that, the more people go, okay, well, I guess this is Jews doing this. Like, how is the expectation from some fucking random dude who already has like encountered or has like nascent underlying anti-Semitic tendencies, like, yeah, Jews are in Hollywood, I don't know, whatever. How is that guy going to watch TV and TikTok at the same time, see all the fucking baby murder happening, and then on television or on Twitter, the fucking White House is literally blackbagging people because they said mean words about Israel, words that they might even agree with, okay? And then the White House is posting, Shalom, Mahmoud, we're blackbagging you. How is that person not supposed to think Jews control the media and every fucking aspect of the federal government? Like, these people do not think complex thoughts. So the more you fucking associate Israel with Judaism and the more you fucking keep saying that you're doing this to combat anti-Semitism, the more anti-Semitism is going to happen. The more it becomes, in the minds of everyday Americans, the only way to protest Israel is by being anti-Semitic. It's wrong, of course. Just like the conflation of Judaism and Israel is wrong. There will come a day when a lot of people who are in your families, okay, for all the Jewish Hasanabi heads in here, all the anti-Zionist Hasanabi heads in here, you will see your parents will actively be speaking in the ways that I'm speaking right now about Israel and try to desperately stop people from associating Judaism with Israel. It will inevitably happen. And I fear that it will happen when it's far too late at that point. And I hope it doesn't get to that point. But you'll see. That's the point. They're trying to increase global anti-Semitism. I know, but it's so short-sighted and it's so fucking stupid. Fartlow's whole mindset that Israel and therefore all Jews are under attack by the powers that be makes no sense. Every Western power aligns with her views. Like, why does she feel like a victim? She has the military-industrial complex on her side. Why would they want to increase anti-Semitism? Why would Israel want to increase anti-Semitism? I don't know. Ask the Mossad why they fucking bombed synagogues in Iraq to create, to heighten the tensions in Iraq for the Iraqi Jews. Because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, Israel sees that as a complementary tool to its Zionist project, to its Zionist ambition of bringing either all Jews to Israel or at least make Jews in the Western world that are outside of Israel, Jews in diaspora, support Israel, because it gives additional credence to the argument. It gives additional credence to the argument that no Jew is ever safe if there is no Jewish state. That is the underpinning of the Zionist project in general. That's it. And while there is no it's kind of like this, okay? Imagine if white Christian colonists constantly ran on the argument that they're always under attack, nonstop, from every angle, and they have to be violent, and they have to do a genocide on the indigenous population. There were arguments like that being presented at the time, but like there has never been a point throughout history where white Western nations have ever been, or especially on the basis of Christianity, they've ever been like truly under attack. So when you say something like that, most people laugh at you. Like when Kevin Sorbo says like, because I'm a white Christian man, I'm being oppressed in Hollywood or whatever, right? Like there is no real historic wrong you can attach to that kind of sentiment. That's why people desperately will try to grab onto like apartheid South Africa and how there's a white genocide happening in South Africa or whatever, right? Like, but there is a real historic wrong that has been committed over and over again against Jews, which is why this argument goes a much longer way. The argument of anti-Semitism goes a much longer way because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry, as opposed to just like anti-white Christian men bigotry. That's not fucking real. That's not a real bigotry at all. That's what's so different about. And that's what's so different about the way to defend Israel in the Western world by talking about the way to defend Israel by talking about anti-Semitism in general, because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry and it is associated with real historic wrongs and historic violence that Jews were subjected to. Speaking of repressed white men, did you see what happened to your favorite comedian? Yeah. Can you expand on that Iraq claim you made? Yes. Iraqi Jewish historian Avi Shlaim has detailed out Mossad operations around the Nakba, or in the aftermath of the Nakba, where Israel wanted more immigration from the MENA region into Israel, of Jews into Israel. And a part of that plan also featured creating an environment of instability and creating a environment of danger for Jews in places like Iraq. They did so by bombing synagogues in Iraq to be like, see, the Iraqis are so anti-Semitic, they want to kill you. You have to come to Israel. And it worked. Ironically enough, the Iraqi Jews and all of the Arab Jews that came into Israel initially were fucking brutalized by the Israeli state to begin with. That's the other side of the story. Here, this is Avi Shlaim.
Lebanon.
Here.
Before the emergence of the State of Israel in 1948, there was a large number of Jews living in the Arab world, something like 800,000, and there were Jews in...
One must ask the question, why? Part of that is also because, you know, Jews have historically lived in that region. The other reason why there was a lot of Jews living in that region was because plenty of them migrated, escaping pogroms under Christian rulership in Europe, and came under the protectorate of the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottoman Empire was a safe haven for Jews.
Lebanon, in Syria, in Egypt, and Iraq. The Jewish community in Iraq was the most ancient, going back to 2.5 millennia ago. It was the most prosperous, the most successful, and the best integrated into local society. But before 48, there were Jews throughout the Arab world, and Muslim-Jewish coexistence was not a distant dream. It was everyday reality. The Jews and Arabs lived side by side.
Why do you hate Jews, bro? Come on. Try harder.
Until the arrival of Zionism, my family and I, we were Arab Jews. We spoke Arabic at home. We didn't speak any other language. Our culture was Arab culture. Our food was the most delicious, spicy, Middle East.
Yeah, this guy must hate Jews too, I assume.
It wasn't European food. So in every sense of the word, we were Arab Jews. We Arab Jews had much more in common, linguistically and culturally, with non-Jews around us. We had much more in common with them than we had with Jews in Eastern Europe. In March 1950, the Iraqi parliament passed a law which said any Jew who wants to leave the country is free to do so. They have a year to register to leave on a one-way visa. And not many Jews registered to leave. And in the next year, 5 bombs exploded in Jewish premises in Baghdad, and that created a panic, and that helped to precipitate the exodus to Israel. Yosef Basri, 28-year-old lawyer and an ardent Zionist, and he was responsible for 3 out of the 5 bombs. The controller of Basri was an Israeli intelligence officer called Max Binet. He gave
420 blaze it, by the way. 420 on 420 blaze it.
him the orders, he gave him the TNT in 1950.
It's the marijuana time on the marijuana day. Oh my God. For East Coast.
There were 135,000 Jews in Iraq. By the end of 1952, there were only about 10,000 Jews left in Iraq, and 125,000 Jews ended up in Israel. We left Iraq as Jews, and we arrived in Israel as Iraqis. But the problem is that Israel claims to be the state of the Jews. Israel claims to speak on behalf of all Jews everywhere. Zionism is an Ashkenazi thing. It's nothing to do with us.
Yeah. My husband is a Sunni Muslim and I'm Ashkenazi Jew, and he was telling me about the Jewish synagogues in and around downtown Beirut, and I didn't understand why they would be there until I read From Beirut to Jerusalem by Thomas L. Friedman. Wait, Thomas Friedman? Well, Thomas Friedman is woke now, so it's fine. He's woke now. Anyway, my dad would tell me stories about how little conflicts there were with not only Jews and Muslims, but even the Shia and Sunnis in our country, to the point that they would even bury people of different religions together and everything. When now even Sunnis and Shias have different burial grounds and rituals. Who is this dude? This is a very famous Israeli new historian by the name of Avi Shalem. He has written many books about Israeli history. The reason why he's known as a new historian, he's part of the new historians, is because him, Ilan Pape, and Benny Morris, who is not as great, uncovered a bunch of hidden aspects of the inception of the Israeli state. The reason why I say Benny Morris is a little bit different is because while these guys all played a major role in showing how Israel had written its own history, Benny Morris recognizes the Nakba as a planned ethnic cleansing campaign, but thinks it's good and it had to happen, whereas Avi and Ilan Pape think it's unconscionable. Avi Shalem has written The Iron Wall, Israel and the Arab World, and numerous other books. Out of the new historians, Benny Morris is what happens when you uncover the truth about Israeli history and then say, and it's awesome, versus these two guys looked at that and were like, this is genocide. This is really fucked up. What did Norm say? Benny's historical facts are 100%, but his conclusions are insane. Yes, his conclusions are evil. That's not even true. Morris said he disliked Ben-Gurion because he did not go full on and finish the job. Yeah, new historians. They got access to documents from the founding of the state that were previously kept hidden. Yeah. Did with this fact, there are more Arabs living in Tel Aviv than there are Jews in the entire Middle East. That's part of the reason why I was very mad at Ethan in the when he did the context puke, and in it made a ridiculous claim that more Jews were ethnically displaced during the Nakba, which he called a war, than Palestinians that were displaced from their ancestral homelands. 750,000 versus 1 million plus. The comparison is ridiculous. The comparison is ridiculous because one is a planned exterminationist ethnic displacement campaign. The other is voluntary migration, primarily, sometimes egged on by the Israeli state, like in the case of Iraq. It's a very sneaky way to make this incredibly disingenuous claim that is akin to genocide revisionism, genocide denial. Benny's the author of the quotes, Ben-Gurion should have ethnically cleansed all Palestinians in 1948, not half of them. And if 10 million Iranians die when Israel nukes Iran, they would deserve it for having made the revolution of 1979. Yeah. Benny Morris signed a petition calling the situation in the West Bank apartheid and recently wrote in Haaretz that Israel's on the cusp of committing a genocide, but not yet. Oh my God, even Benny Morris is becoming woke? Wait, what the fuck? That's crazy. Here's another stat. There are about as many indigenous people in America as Jews, and yet indigenous issues do not get nearly the attention that Israel gets. That's how you know American support has little to do with actually caring about Judaism or fighting anti-Semitism and everything to do with colonialism. Yes.
We're often told
how Israel became a fascist state. Aaron Bastani meets Ilan Pape. Oh, this just came out. Ilan Pape is the GOAT of this. His book 10 Myths is like great. I mean, 10 Myths is probably what I would point to as like a must read in terms of anti-Zionist thought, in terms of understanding the dynamic, in terms of understanding the propaganda and the lies being told at the behest of Israel. It is, I think, it's a fairly easy read, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's a great introduction. It's a great starting point. Have you finished the E-Fat little clip yet? I think so. Yeah, I did. Oh, wow, I didn't.
That's where it's gone. Do you want to see how it's going to evolve further? Do you want to take that risk? Do you want your kids going to these music festivals and God forbid something like what happened to the kids at Nova happens to them? Where do you think this leads? Use your position of responsibility now. It's over to you.
Yeah, kneecap.
Stop being selfish, self-invested cowards.
Yeah. If there's someone who is a selfish, self-invested coward, it is the person that said, the anti-Semitic pogrom started when they fired me from my job writing for Stereo Gum or whatever. That's when the pogrom started. Did she just threaten to kill people at a music festival? No, she's saying, I mean, that's funny. No, she's basically saying that every music festival will turn into a Nova festival if you allow people to say fuck Israel at festivals. That's the argument that she's trying to make here, which is so psychotic. Also, I can't see what this account said, which is weird. How the fuck? Wait, I thought blocked accounts I could still see, but I don't know what happened. New TikTok dropped. That was sick. She's ironically accelerated in very outcome she professes to fight against. Lol, I know. People who actively and desperately try to defend Israel by packaging this under any attack against Israel is an attack against all Jews, ironically enough, plays a role in calcifying anti-Semitic tendencies that people have. It's the word. If you care about anti-Semitism, as I do, okay, you should be using every waking moment to separate Israel from Judaism. Because not only is that the truth, okay, but it's also a weird false association. It's like if, and I've said this before, it's like saying Israel represents all Jews. If you hate Israel, you hate all Jews, you're anti-Semitic, is like if I and other Muslims living in the Western world were constantly talking about how ISIS represents Islam. It's true Islam. And if you hate ISIS and you say ISIS is doing horrible things, then you hate Muslims. You're Islamophobic. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It is wild to make this voluntary association. Hassan on stage at Coachella? Yeah. Ridiculous stuff. I don't understand the motivations for Zionism. Is there a profit incentive or something? Why go through all that trouble to create an ethno-state? What do you mean? It's like saying, what is the motivation for settler colonialism in the United States? Why do settler colonialism is funny from a materialist perspective? Read my logs about the numbers showing before and after the Nakba. My mom's family originally Tunisian Mizrahi Jews, but during the 40s, half of the tribe converted to Islam, but in the government documents, they were still assigned as Jews of religion for the simple fact that during French colonial time, the government was unreliable. So the before and after the Nakba numbers showing the number of Jews is also unreliable because not all went to Israel. Many were already Muslims, but the government still had the old religion assigned to them. Oh shit, I did not know that. That's crazy. Kind of reminds me of how bad faith people say supporting the people of Palestine makes you a Hamas supporter. I don't even think that's necessarily the bad faith association there is because of all of the baggage associated with Hamas in general. Like, of course, I support the Palestinian emancipation, the Palestinian emancipatory movement. Palestinians, and I've said this time and time again, like post October 7, Palestinians have a right to defend themselves under international law. So everything that Hamas or Al-Qassam or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the things that they've done in the process of defending the Gaza Strip from an incursion by a belligerent occupier such as Israel is not only valid, but also moral. It's just, and it is perfectly legal. It is perfectly legal under international law. It is so shocking to me that people just refuse to reckon with this basic fact, just as the Jenin brigades and numerous other militancies that form in the West Bank are literally legal. Okay? They are legal. They are legally defending their own land, their own territory from the illegal occupation, the Israeli occupation. This is not a matter that is up for interpretation or debate. It's just the truth. It is not only moral, but it is also legal under international law. But it doesn't fucking matter, because when America's ally is engaging in this erroneous and ultimately very violent engagement that completely destroys any semblance of international law, no one says anything. No one can say anything about it. You know, you just can't. Are you including October 7 in this statement? No, of course, October 7 is not. No, the actions taken on October 7 is a violation of international law. That's ridiculous. It is an understandable logical endpoint for a people that have been constantly dominated and destroyed by this belligerent occupier. But having said that, of course, it is not considered justifiable under international law. That's ridiculous. The dynamic there of a militancy group that is born out of the constant struggle and the constant pain and the constant violence that they're subjected to by the most powerful entity in the region, that is backed by the most powerful entity on the planet, doing all of this and leading people to a sense of desperation where they do a final act of violence that is even a fraction of the violence that they've been subjected to over the course of 75 years of occupation and apartheid. Having said that, it's still, of course, not legal under international law. But that is the reason why I have said since October 7 that this violence that took place on October 7 is directly in the hands of Israel. Okay? It is directly in the hands of Israel. The fuck? Like, this chatter says, return the hostages. Ironically enough, I don't think this chatter is talking about the tens of thousands of Palestinians that are held hostage in Israeli facilities, ripped away from their homes, ripped away at military checkpoints that are illegal, that shouldn't even be there, by Israeli occupying force soldiers that are illegally occupying the West Bank. You know what I mean? It's only one-sided, because so much of this argument basically revolves around one fundamental principle. Arabs, Palestinians as a whole, are not human, okay? Because if you recognize, see, you reap what you sow, Hassan. Yeah, okay, well, I'm not the one fucking constantly crying that people are being mean to my apartheid state that's doing a genocide, okay? Everyone around the world knows the depraved nature of Israel. Everyone. Only a matter of time until people say enough is enough, okay? True? What the fuck kind of take is this? What do you mean? That was the quickest conversion I've ever engaged in. Yeah. Israel didn't sign on to Protocol 1 of the Geneva Conventions, which says that international human law applies to spontaneous militia groups who resist against colonial occupation or racist regimes. Israel said Protocol 1 could be seen as promoting terrorism, which shows you that they just label anti-colonial resistance as terrorism, giving the rhetorical game away. And the only reason why we see it as such is because the American media also sees it that way. Because what America is doing is also identical to what Israel has done in this past year and continues to do. Yeah. You reap what you sow is really funny when 53% of Americans now have an unfavorable opinion of Israel. 53% of Americans, in spite of all of the promotion, in spite of all of the news coverage that rarely ever speaks the truth about what Israel is doing. There's never a mention of Palestinians that are being held hostage by the Israeli state as hostages. They're prisoners. The only people who are hostages, the only people who are human, are Israeli citizens that were kept as hostages. Even going so far as to write articles about how, like, a poor Israeli boy was kidnapped from a Merkava tank. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Kidnapped from a tank? What do you mean? That's a soldier. That's a prisoner of war, dumbass. The fuck do you mean kidnapped from a tank? He was operating a goddamn tank. The fuck? This poor teenager rear brigadier admiral general was kidnapped from a tank. So America was founded by terrorists? Got it? Yes. Yes. The fuck do you think the Revolutionary War was? What are you talking about? Yes. What, you think the fucking British monarchy at the time didn't consider The American Revolution, an act of terror? Yeah, no shit, dumbass. Of course. The fuck? Yes, the Boston Tea Party and all the subsequent acts are definitionally considered by whatever a state enterprise looked like at the time, which would be the British monarchy, is, yes, a fucking act of terror by terrorists. Yes. Anyway, what is this? Oh God, I don't care about E-Fat-Lo. I'm done with E-Fat-Lo. I'm done with E-Fat-Lo. Jewish groups in the music space made the owners of Coachella Golden Voice aware the Irish band Kneecap was deeply anti-Semitic and promoted Hezbollah terrorists. What did Golden Voice do? Nothing. The result, the vilification of the world's only Jewish state last night as thousands cheered on. Emails, Paul Tollett, CEO and President, Jay Marciano, and ask, why did Melissa Armand, the COO of Festivals at AE Presents and COO of Golden Voice, allow this to happen? At 2024 concert, Kneecap waved Hezbollah flags on stage. Dude, I'm telling you, you know the boys are fucking loving this. I mean, I'm loving it too. This gets me super hype whenever Stop Anti-Semites or Stop Anti-Semitism fucking chirps up about me. It's awesome. Please, I cannot hear about another email campaign. I'm gonna lose my mind, brother. Yeah, also, it's so fucking funny. I'm sorry, but it is straight up hilarious that you're like, I can't believe Kneecap, a band that does this all the time, did the thing that they are known to do. Wow, I'm shocked. What's next? Are you going to tell me they rapped in Irish? Wow. Anyway, now, Trump administration asked Supreme Court to roll back order halting deportations. We're going to be talking about that. My mother-in-law brought up Coachella and asked us to explain Palestine and change their views of Radlib. Let's go.
To Washington and the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration and the new challenge to the Supreme Court following a temporary pause on some deportations. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang joins us with the latest. Selena, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Whit. This is a showdown between the White House and the Supreme Court, with the justices making their decision at rapid speed after the ACLU argued that the administration was trying to rush migrants onto plane and send them to a notorious prison in El Salvador without sufficient due process. This morning, the Trump administration now asking the Supreme Court to roll back its decision to block the deportation of a group of Venezuelan migrants being held at a detention center in Texas under the Alien Enemies Act, a centuries-old wartime law that provides little or no due process. That extraordinary order coming from the highest court shortly after midnight Saturday, just hours after the ACLU raced to file an emergency appeal. The ACLU's lead attorney telling me that migrants received this notice and were told they'd be removed in 12 to 24 hours. The notice says, under the Alien Enemies Act, you have been determined to be an alien enemy subject to apprehension, restraint, and removal from the United States.
We're talking about the administration hurrying people to the plane to send them to this Salvadoran prison without any due process whatsoever.
Among the migrants at that Texas detention center, Jose Gregorio Caldera Perez, seen in this video shared with ABC News, speaking to his girlfriend from the facility on Thursday before the court's ruling. He says there are a lot of us, and every minute more and more Venezuelans keep coming. The majority are Venezuelans. Another man in a jumpsuit seen holding up a piece of paper he says they allegedly have to sign and that they do not know where they might be going. ABC News has reached out to DHS for comment. The paper says Venezuela, but others say it's to El Salvador, so please help us. Caldera Perez's girlfriend telling us he said the paper is only in English and hard to understand, adding that he claims he and a group of detainees were taken to an airport near the facility on Friday and told they were about to be deported. Then he told her once they arrived, an officer informed the group they were being sent back to the center and would not board the plane. Overnight, Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas releasing their dissent, calling the midnight order unprecedented and legally questionable relief. The Trump administration also arguing that the Supreme Court's block was premature order and asking the justices to clarify that its order only stops them from deporting migrants under the Alien Enemies Act and not under other authorities. That's the same act invoked back in March to deport hundreds of Venezuelan migrants to the prison in El Salvador. Among them, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a father living in Maryland who was mistakenly sent back to his home country despite a court order barring the move.
He was traumatized by being at CCOT and fearful of many of the prisoners in other cell blocks.
The White House says they're confident they'll ultimately prevail against what they're calling meritless litigation. And it's also another busy week ahead for the Trump administration in the courts, with multiple hearings scheduled focused on the administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. So in all of these legal cases, Janae, this legal battle is only beginning.
It certainly is. Selena Wang, thank you so much.
President Trump, who met with El Salvador's president this week, made it clear he does not intend to seek the return of Abrego Garcia to the United States. Deportation without due process is at the center of the Abrego Garcia case. The administration claims he is an MS-13 gang member, something his family and his attorneys deny. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen flew to El Salvador himself to try to get a meeting with the man whose family, including his wife, an American citizen, is still in Maryland, pushing for his return. First, authorities refused, but late Thursday, Senator Van Hollen was able to sit down with Abrego Garcia, who was not in his jail garb and not in the hellish CCOT prison, but instead in plain clothes at a nearby hotel. While President Trump accused Van Hollen of defending a violent gang member, the senator says the issue goes far beyond the case of Abrego Garcia.
If you deny the constitutional rights of one man, you threaten the constitutional rights and due process for everyone else in America.
And Senator Van Hollen joins me now. So you had this extraordinary trip to El Salvador. When you got there, you demanded, or you asked to see Abrego Garcia. You were flatly denied, and then suddenly they brought him to see you. Explain, what happened?
Well, you're right. I was denied by the vice president. I then, the next day, tried to drive to CCOT prison, which is this notorious prison.
Yeah.
Soldiers waved me to the side of the road about 3 kilometers out. I said, "What are you doing?" They said they were gotten orders not to allow me to proceed.
Not even to get within miles of the...
Yeah, 3 kilometers. I asked them if they knew anything about the health of Abrego Garcia. They said they knew nothing about it. We had a number of press conferences in El Salvador pointing out that they were complicit in this illegal scheme with the Trump administration, and pointing out that it's illegal under international law to prevent any communication with a prisoner.
Because his family hadn't heard from him, nobody had any contact for weeks.
That's right. This is a guy who was just abducted off the streets of Maryland, put in a couple airplanes, didn't know he was going to El Salvador, and ends up in the most notorious prison.
So how'd you end up meeting with him then? What happened?
I think at some point, the president of El Salvador realized it was looking really bad to have this person who'd been...
I'm telling you, dude, this only happened because Van Hollen pressed hard and because you guys protested against this. Now, imagine if more Congress members would also demonstrate the same moral courage against the false deportation proceedings for people who have done nothing wrong, but simply said mean things about Israel, like simply wrote an article in the student newspaper about how Israel's doing a genocide, something that we all know is true, by the way. Like conservatives that kept crying over and over and over again about free speech in 1984 and how libtards want to ban the truth or whatever the fuck are straight up watching this unfold.
Just a few days ago on...
What is this? The Palestinian Buddhist arrested by ICE? Oh, about Mosin? Someone said he talked to his Israeli student or something as well. Is this the video? I think that... I truly think that the next stage in this is for bold leadership from Bernie Sanders. His own constituent was kidnapped in a similar scheme, the one that Hank Green is talking about here. Like, this has to happen. Similar things to what Van Hollen is doing has to take place with Rumeysa Öztürk, with Mosin, with Mahmoud, with all of the people that are being detained right now, because they participated in student protests against Israel's genocide. It's completely unacceptable. And seeing that this kind of action still at this stage has a reaction from other parties involved, where people do actually back down a little bit and concede a little bit. All it takes is for some politicians to demonstrate bravery. It's right there for the taking.
Absconded from America, from the streets of Maryland, in one of their prisons and not able to communicate. So I ended up getting a call saying, we will bring him to your hotel. And that's how we met.
So did you walk into a trap, though? I mean, they bring him to your hotel. He's in the civilian clothes, and you met with him. We saw the images. You put out the picture of meeting with him. The beginning of the meeting. You're sitting there. You're drinking water and talking to the guy in the hotel lobby, I assume. And then at some point they bring in these glasses that look like margarita glasses.
No, it wasn't a trap. My goal was to meet with him.
Yeah.
And make sure I could tell his wife and family he was okay. That was my goal, and I achieved that goal. You're absolutely right that the Salvadorian authorities tried to deceive people. They tried to make it look like he was in paradise. They actually wanted to have the meeting by the hotel pool originally.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had to negotiate that. They wanted to put me right overlooking the pool. In fact, if you had a different angle on the camera shot, you would see the pool.
Because they did right. Bukele put out a statement saying, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture and sipping margaritas with you. Yeah. I mean, they were really trying to make you look like you were hanging out with somebody that they say is a gang member.
Look, this is a person who the United States courts have determined was illegally taken from the United States. And my whole purpose here is to make sure that we observe the rule of law, the Constitution, and due process rights. Bukele, yes, he tried to make it look like somehow Abrego Garcia was enjoying himself. All of that was a setup, right? He had the waiters there. People ordered the waiters to bring these things that look like margaritas. Yeah. It just goes to show the lengths that Bukele and Trump will go to try to deceive people about what this case is all about. What this case is all about is simply complying with the Supreme Court order to facilitate his return and make sure he gets due process.
So what did Abrego Garcia tell you?
He told me about the trauma he had been experiencing, both in terms of the abduction and the fact that he was originally sent to CICOT, which is this notorious prison.
Yeah, we've seen the
He told me how much he missed his wife and his kids. He specifically mentioned his 5-year-old boy who has autism, because that boy had been in the car with him when U.S. agents had stopped them and handcuffed him and then taken him away. So he described all that, and he told me that he had moved recently to a new prison facility. So those are some of the highlights.
I want you to listen to something that Gavin Newsom had to say about all the attention this case has gotten.
This is the distraction of the day, the art of distraction. This is the debate they want. This is their 80-20 issue as they've described it.
Is he right about the politics of this? I mean, the Republicans have taken great joy in portraying you as somebody who is defending somebody who's in this country illegally, they say is a gang member, and and they say that they're trying to just enforce the laws.
John, I don't think it's ever wrong to protect the Constitution and protect due process rights. I think conservative and libertarians, when they think about this case, the idea of somebody being deprived of their liberty and actually in a foreign prison without due process of law, that's something we should all fight for. I think what Americans are tired of is people who want to put their finger to the wind to see what's going on. And I would say that anyone that's not prepared to defend the constitutional rights of one man when they threaten the constitutional rights of all doesn't deserve to lead.
As you know, the president himself has been attacking you by pointing out some of the aspects of Abrego Garcia's record, including the fact that his wife had an order of protection against him in 2021 and alleged some pretty serious allegations of abuse, and even that.
Oh my God. This, by the way, this is straight up. This is just like lending credence to the lines of attack created by the administration.
That he had detained her. Are you concerned about your defense of somebody? Obviously.
Sorry, what's the deal with them bringing Garcia and the senator wine glasses? Is that what you talked about regarding Republicans' messaging, grasping at straws right now? Or am I dumb because I really don't understand the supposed problem they're trying to manufacture? Yeah, it is. That they put like fake margarita glasses in front of them, which I don't even think had margarita in them, to make it seem like they were having a fun little outing, basically. It's something so simple and so stupid. It doesn't even change the dynamic at all, but it's because Republicans are so goddamn desperate that they're basically holding on to anything and everything they can. You only do this when you are when you've lost the argument, when you've lost control over the message, and you're worried, and you're doing anything and everything you can to basically fucking say, no, please don't look in this direction. They're bad. I promise you, they're bad.
Everybody in this country, even those undocumented immigrants, have rights. But are you concerned about standing so forcefully with somebody that has, at least a questionable record?
I am not defending the man. I'm defending the rights of this man.
Wait, oh God, come on, Van Hollen. You should know by now that this is fucking bullshit, okay? It's bullshit. Just ask the easiest response to this is, his wife called my office. His wife is my constituent. She's the one who wants his return. That's it. It's that simple. This is nothing but a distraction to try to post hoc rationalize this false deportation that should not have happened to begin with by this administration, led by wife abusers and drunk rapists. What are we talking about? It's so crazy.
To due process. And the Trump administration has admitted in court that he was wrongfully detained and wrongfully deported.
This answer right here is kind of lame, I'll be honest. And I really like what Van Hollen has done so far, but there's still obviously like a limit to how hard he can go. But I think there's no reason to entertain it. There's not even any reason to entertain this whatsoever. You know what I mean? I think that his staffers should arm him better with better talking points on this issue. So now Hasanabi are completely ignoring the fact that his own wife got a protective order on him. Oh my God, this Native American lady is back. If this was a good man, I would get it. But why is there such a defense of non-Americans? I do not get it. Because the idea, first of all, you're in the fucking community of a person who came here when they were 18 years old, okay? You tune in live to a person who luckily has birthright citizenship as a consequence of being an anchor baby. But having said that, don't you think that I would have a different perspective, a different framework that I'm operating off of, and the notion that like anyone that comes here is automatically a bad person or automatically should not be on U.S. soil is a ridiculous statement to present to a person who very clearly wants and has no issue with migrants coming into this country? That's number one. Number two, I ask you this question, and I hope you can understand it. Okay, he came here legally. I'm from legal migration. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, he was legally present in the United States of America. He was literally a fucking union member as well. He had gainful employment. So you're wrong. He has a wife that is an American citizen. He has children that are American citizens. He was de facto legally on U.S. soil, especially after he got an immigration court to stop him from being deported to El Salvador, his nation of origin. Okay? That's number one. Number two, if you think, aside from the fact that he came here illegally, which is what you keep repeating. By the way, chatters, this is the lady from yesterday that we thought was a Fed, who's like, I'm a Native American who wants land back, but also will entertain the stupidest fucking white nativist anti-immigration arguments that the racist Republicans present. Okay? Very cool. Anyway, actually, it said that he crossed the border at 16. Wait, what? This person, first of all, let me just explain something to you, okay? You know how natives will say no one is illegal on stolen land? I don't know if you've heard this statement before. I don't know if you've ever internalized it or if you ever thought about it, but I think it's a pretty valid assessment to make. Not only that, but also, this is only an issue if people that are coming in to the United States of America are actually causing issues, okay? Like real issues. If I'll hand it to you, okay? I'll help you understand this. If what Donald Trump said about undocumented migrants was true, the fact that undocumented migrants seemingly from all around the world are coming into the United States of America with one goal in mind, which is to undermine America and do rapes and mass murders, and they're killing 100,000 Americans every year, then yes, mass deportation would be valid, okay? That would be an invasion. Except that's not what's going on. That is completely fucking made up, okay? That's it. This is the problem. At the heart of the problem lies a fucking severe sequence of lies that dumb fucks like you believe in. It has nothing to do with things the right way. Come on now. You are too stupid to understand that asylum applications are a legal and valid form. And in order to process an asylum application, you need to be inside of U.S. borders to begin with. Many of the people that you think are undocumented migrants or illegal aliens are simply applying for asylum. That's number one. Number two, this person already had a withholding of removal, which means that he was legally in on U.S. soil at that point, okay? I am for legal migration. No, you're not. You're a fucking idiot because you're literally talking about someone who had a right to be here at this point. He had a right to be here. It's dangerous to cross illegally. That's my stance. Why has he not gotten legal citizenship? Stop calling me stupid. What the fuck, whatever. Because you are stupid and you need to hear it over and over again. Do not call me names, dude. You are tripping. The very fact that I didn't ban you yesterday after you ate up an hour and a half of my time and everyone else's time in here because I tried to walk you personally through the steps piece by piece by also bringing it back to your own like personal association with your own identity, with your own culture as well, hoping that that would trigger something in you to recognize how silly you're being about this issue. And it seemingly didn't work, means that I should be doing way more than just fucking calling your names. I should be banning you and moving on because I do not want to break the law. Okay, I'm going to take two different steps here to explain something to you. One, there are a sequence of unjustifiable laws, okay? Completely ridiculous laws. For example, being Jewish was illegal in Nazi Germany. Would you say, don't break the law, don't be Jewish? No, you wouldn't. For example, freeing slaves was illegal at a certain point in this country. Would you say, don't fucking free slaves? What do you mean? The law's the law. That is an idiotic argument. Legality and morality are two separate concepts. You should be an adult and be able to figure out that there is a difference between the two. Okay? And that one trumps over the other. That's number one. Number two, in this circumstance, and in many cases when people are talking about someone being an illegal alien, those people already have the proper documentation and the proper clearance from the government to be here, to work here. They're just simply saying that they're illegal aliens, okay? A withdrawal, a withholding of removal to where your nation of origin is a higher standard to fucking clear than even an asylum application. It is a de facto legal allowance to be on U.S. soil unless you do something that is completely fucking heinous. Okay? That's it.
My mission and my purpose is to make sure that we uphold the rule of law, because if we take it away from him, we do jeopardize it for everybody else. And I do want to point out, Carl, yes, the Trump administration is trying to change the story. They're trying to detract attention. Here's where they should put their facts. They should put it before the court. They should put up or shut up in court. Because Judge Zinnes, who's the district court judge in this case, said, and I quote, they put no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or to any other terrorist activity, unquote. She says that a couple times in her decision. So, Mr. President,
you're being wildly disrespectful of Chowder's opinion that people should be thrown into foreign concentration camps. I know.
And Republicans and anybody involved with this, take your facts to court. Don't put everything out on social media. As to his wife is the one who is asking us all to bring him home so his rights can be respected.
Okay, he came back around to that point, so I'm happy that he did.
And in fact, even if he is a gang member, that doesn't mean you don't have rights, due process rights.
Well, exactly. But again, the place to litigate that.
This is also good as well. This statement in and of itself is also one that should be repeated too. Like, even having gang associations is not automatically illegal. We're so far removed from that part of the conversation because the needle has so firmly planted in the fucking most reactionary position at this point, where everyone is trying to fight any battle they can at the edge, at the tip of the fucking spear at this point. Like, people are like, hey, can we get due process again, please? Meanwhile, we've forgotten like that there are 11 other steps even before this point that are also completely unconscionable and completely ridiculous.
Is in the courts, and they've not put the evidence before the judge in the case. So again, put up or shut up in court.
Let me ask you also, we heard from Tom Homan, which we'll be playing shortly. He was very critical of you, not surprisingly, and said, you know, that he was alarmed that you would go to El Salvador to meet with an alleged gang member. He didn't say alleged, but a gang member. And when you have not taken a single visit to the border over the past 4 years or shown concerns about what was happening at the border.
What is this? Dude, what the fuck is going on? Is this on Fox News or ABC, man? This is like... Yeah, he's been living in Maryland with his U.S.-born wife and son after being provided protected legal status and legal work authorization in 2019. The protected status was granted after an immigration judge agreed with Abrego Garcia that his life was in danger if he was sent back to El Salvador. But this person still fucking does not get it. Whatever, have a nice day. I still think you're cute, but wow. Whenever people say there's a legal way to come into the country, they, one, completely refuse to recognize that his status in this country was legal de facto, okay? It was de facto legally in the country. He had a work authorization. And number two, the legal pathways of entry into the country in terms of getting immigration status are shut off to people like this, okay? Nobody is fucking trekking 2,000 miles across treacherous terrain, braving the fucking elements, and coming in here for fun, okay? They're not taking the hard route because they're all a bunch of fucking YouTubers and TikTokers who wanted to do the crossing the border challenge, okay? They're doing this because the legal pathways are deliberately shut off to them. These are incredibly desperate people who don't want to do crimes, and that also is demonstrated by the criminality and the crime statistics of undocumented migrants in comparison to natural-born U.S. citizens. Undocumented migrants are responsible for lower crime per capita than U.S.-born citizens are by a wide margin. If legal pathways of citizenship or legal pathways of entry was allowed, was easily accessible, they would do it. Many of you have no idea how long it takes. Many of you have no idea how expensive it is. That is by design. That is specifically designed that way so that this country's capital owners can have a steady crop of expendable, disposable, permanent, underclass, non-legally protected migrant workers. That's it. That is the only reason. The currency exchange alone would already create an unfair dynamic without any sort of wage parity legislation for migrant workers as opposed to domestic U.S. workers. So even without that, there would already be a depressive factor in play here for people if they came in legally because of the fact that their material conditions are very different in their home countries. And they would come here and work for much lower prices than the U.S.-born domestic labor would work for. But we don't even want to do that. We want slavery with extra steps, pennies on the dollar, disposable people that we can work in our agriculture, the disposable people that we can work in our construction. It's completely fucking ridiculous. It is one of the most inhumane things that we do on a regular basis. It is by design. The cruelty is baked into the system. It's that simple. But perhaps it's not that simple for some of you to comprehend. Yeah. Also, I saw this on my timeline. I'm going to show you a sequence of steps. Mike from PA apparently reposted this and said, Ethan Klein is afraid to leave his house for a haircut. And then this person reposted Mike from PA and said, Palestine still isn't free and in fact are in a worse position since Hassan put the spotlight on them. This person literally thinks that I am responsible for Israel's genocide of Palestinians because of my advocacy. What a fucking insane way to live your life, okay? Please, you have horse blinders on and you have no way of analyzing world events outside of this narrow scope of influencer fucking drama. To which one of you guys reposted and said, it's embarrassing when people admit to having a childlike understanding about the Palestinian plight that you insinuate that you, one, know more about who should be in the movement than actual Palestinians and people that have welcomed him. Two, think he can free Palestine already. Very funny. Fucking pathetic. Anyway, how do you keep getting away with it? What do you mean? Getting away with what? Yeah, I saw the second signal chat thing. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to get to it. Don't worry. Let's get back to the El Salvador trip that Chris Van Hollen engaged in. And also this fucking ridiculous, this completely ridiculous line of questioning coming from ABC.
So I read
Your
that
response.
I read that transcript.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go through it all. He is lying through his teeth on many places in that record. And I have been actually fighting MS-13 probably longer than Donald Trump ever uttered the name MS-13 for 20 years in this region. I helped stand up the anti-gang task force. But the idea that you can't defend people's rights under the Constitution and fight MS-13 and gang violence is a very dangerous idea. That's the idea the president wants to put out. That's why they're spreading all these lies. Take your information to the court because you clearly have not done that, and respect this person's constitutional rights and follow the order of the Supreme Court, which they're defying as we speak.
Return. All right, Senator Van Hollen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, John.
And joining me now is Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Senator Kennedy, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's start off with this case of Mr. Abrego Garcia. You heard my conversation with Senator Van Hollen. The Justice Department called the deportation of Mr. Abrego Garcia a, quote, administrative error. The Supreme Court has ordered the government to facilitate Mr. Abrego Garcia's return. Should Mr. Abrego Garcia be returned to the United States, Senator?
Well, Chris is my friend, and I respect him, and he's certainly entitled to his opinion, but in my judgment, he is utterly and gloriously wrong. I mean, most of this gauzy rhetoric is just rage bait. Unless you're next level obtuse, you know that Mr. Garcia is never coming back to the United States, ever. And that's not because of President Trump. That's because of Mr. President Bukele. He said up front in the Oval Office that he was not going to return Mr. Garcia. No federal judge, even Jay Wilkinson, has authority over a sovereign country. Besides that, it should not go unnoticed that...
Oh, yeah? The American government has no power to tell the country that we are using as a fucking slave labor colony to return people that have been deported there falsely. That's an interesting statement from a Rhodes scholar, by the way. All this fucking foghorn leghorn bullshit is simply an act, for those of you who don't know. Okay? President Bukele, Rhodes scholar, chat. These senators think Americans are dumb idiots. I mean, a lot of Americans are dumb idiots. Let's be real. But yeah, the notion that we cannot demand the return of people that we have falsely deported to a country is ridiculous. We have done so. We've done it successfully in the past, as a matter of fact. So when he says this, he's just hoping that you don't know that that is the case. I wonder if the journalist in question here will actually, will turn around and repeat. I mean, will turn around and say that's not true.
Mr. Bukele is much closer to President Xi in China than he is to President Trump. Xi is spending billions of dollars to build infrastructure in El Salvador, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've discussed this case. The final point I would make, whether you agree with it or not, is Bukele hates MS-13, and Mr. Garcia allegedly is a member of MS-13. The other point I would make is that Chris says Mr. Garcia has had no due process. He's been in front of 17 judges, some of them twice, probably $5 million worth of legal fees, and he hadn't had to pay a dime. Final point I'd make, look, this was a screw-up, in my opinion. The administration won't admit it, but this was a screw-up. Mr. Garcia was not supposed to be sent to El Salvador. He was sent to El Salvador. The Democrats saying, look, you know, we told you Trump is a threat to democracy. This is going to happen every other Thursday afternoon. I don't see any pattern here. I mean, you know, someday...
90% of people that were sent to the Seacock facility thus far have no criminal background. None whatsoever. And have been shipped there to the slave labor colony exclusively because some fucking dipshit ICE agent knew that they were easy pickings. In order to make it seem like there is a mass mobilization happening against all migrants, they're going after the ones that have basically told the government exactly where they're at. That's why they're going after fucking student visa recipients and demanding that college campuses reveal any kind of misconduct that their foreign students have engaged in, because they want to pad the fucking stats. Because lo and behold, and this might come as a surprise, the previous administration, regardless of what Trump said, and every administration, as a matter of fact, has, of course, criminally prosecuted migrants when they do crimes. Contrary to what the Trump administration was claiming before the election, that's the reason why they can't find these rugged, crazy criminals and are simply trying to deport whoever the fuck they can. Make no mistake. They're deporting motherfuckers for jaywalking and shit, and there's a reason for that.
Pigs may fly, but I doubt it.
Senator, this is notable because you are saying...
Yeah, in Trump's first term, ICE returned a man to the U.S. after deporting him to Iraq in a contravention of U.S. federal court order. They did it before, they can do it again. But this is just one instance. Trump has also, or previous administrations have also demanded the return from El Salvador too. The idea that this is impossible is fucking ridiculous.
In your words, this is a screw up. I mean, are you concerned that more mistakes could happen?
Well, sure. None of us want mistakes. Mistakes bad. Doing it right, good.
Yeah.
But it was a screw up, and I understand why the administration is bowed up and said we won't admit it's a mistake, because if they do, they'll have their throats torn out. But it was a screw up. I don't see any pattern here. I've been listening to my Democratic friends say for, I don't know, since God was a child, that Trump is a threat to democracy. I don't see any pattern here. I see a screw up.
Well, and the concern for
the very fact that even John Kennedy has to concede that this is a mistake, but it's not a pattern, is a concession. It means that the pressure point, the pressure is working. Okay? I'm telling you right now, there is finally a little bit of a fucking vibe shift that's taking place. For the record, he's still lying. He's just trying to hold on to the rest of the deportations. He's like, well, this one was a mistake, but the other ones are valid. They're not. 90% of the people that were shipped off were not, they didn't have a criminal record, dude. Abrego Garcia is simply the tip of the fucking iceberg. And the only reason why we're talking about Abrego Garcia is because the government admitted to making this mistake. That's it.
For some people is that if there's one screw up, it does become a slippery slope. It is worth noting Mr. Abrego Garcia has not ever been charged with a crime. And in terms of what the courts are saying, they're not saying this is under the jurisdiction of the president of El Salvador. They're saying this is the responsibility of the U.S. government, the Supreme Court ordering the Trump administration.
Like, are you using 90% of the hyperbole or a fact? It's a fact. This is why I think the media is still bad and still needs to be fucking pushed on this. Make no mistake. Right here, this anchor is supposed to turn around and say, ProPublica reporting on the matter showed that 75% have no criminal record whatsoever, and 90% have, beyond the 75%, 15% of them have like jaywalking tickets and shit like that, parking tickets. Like, she should say that. She should turn around and be like, the only reason why this is the news right now, the only reason why you're on the news and saying this and admitting to the wrongdoing by the government here is because the government actually admitted to the mistake. To say that this is not a pattern of behavior, this doesn't show a pattern of behavior, is completely ridiculous.
To facilitate his return. And in a ruling this week, a three-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals wrote, quote, the government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. Do you believe Mr. Abrego Garcia is due to have due process?
Well, I think, number one, he's had due process. But if your question is, should he have been given a hearing before he was sent to El Salvador, I think the answer is yes. But let me say something about the Fourth Circuit opinion written by Jay Wilkinson. Judge Wilkinson is a very clever, self-confident guy. But he left out one part in his opinion. What does he expect Trump to do? Declare war and go get Bukele? I mean, he brought Bukele to America. President Bukele sat in the Oval Office in front of God and country and said,
This is bad. This is bad propaganda. They're desperate. And weirdly enough, I think they did not expect there to be this much pushback. No one believes this. Republicans are not going to, even Republicans are not going to be like, oh, we can't fucking get this guy back. Get out of here. Oh, Nayib Bukele is the big bad guy that we are having a real hard time forcing to fucking play ball here. How can you make this argument when Donald Trump is like, we're going to destroy global trade single-handedly? Every one of the foreign leaders are coming in to kiss my asshole to do new trade relationships. And you're over here being like, well, we can't control Bukele. We can't control him. He's a scary guy. No one believes this shit.
I'm not sending this guy back. So I don't know what Judge Wilkinson expects Trump to do.
Well, the president could simply have asked for it back, and he may have brought him. But let me ask you about something you said just a couple of months ago.
How do you know he hasn't? But Kristen, how do you know he hasn't?
Well, he has said he's...
Because he said he hasn't. And he said he doesn't want this person to be brought back. He said it, by the way.
Doesn't plan to. I'm just basing this off of his public comments. The president has said he doesn't plan to, but let me just play something that you said. This is a couple months ago during a confirmation hearing for some of the president's DOJ officials. Take a listen. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Don't ever take the position that you're not going to follow the order of a federal court. Now, all our judiciary has, an equal branch of government, has its legitimacy. It doesn't have an army. Don't ever say you're not going to follow the order of a court.
Do you believe that President Trump is following the orders of the courts right now?
Yes. And I don't believe that President Trump will defy a federal judge's order. If he does, I'll call him out on it. I believe what I said in the clip. I love the rule of law. I love it like the devil loves sin. I think if we start not following federal judicial orders, we undermine the system entirely. Now, that doesn't mean you can't criticize them. You can criticize them, you can appeal them, but you can't choose to not follow them. And I haven't seen President Trump do that. And if he does, I'll say very loudly and clearly that I think he's wrong.
Okay. Let me ask you about something else President Trump said this week. He said he would like to send what he called, and I'm quoting him, homegrown criminals, meaning U.S. citizens, to foreign prisons like the one in El Salvador. Senator, do you think the law allows the President of the United States to send U.S. citizens to a foreign prison?
Like the devil loves saying. What do you mean?
No, ma'am. Nor should it be considered appropriate or moral. We have our own laws. We have the 8th Amendment to the Constitution. We shouldn't send prisoners to foreign countries, in my judgment.
Yeah, until Trump does it, in which case he absolutely. You're surprised he said that? Chat. Everything that you're watching on screen is a carefully crafted persona. He is a monstrous piece of shit, just like many other politicians are. John Kennedy is uniquely bad. He's just saying not what he's actually going to do. He's just saying what you want to hear. Wake up. If you think that once Trump starts that process, that John Kennedy will stand firmly against it, you are wrong.
Okay, let me switch gears here a little bit, ask you about President Trump's agenda, because I know y'all are going to be very focused on that. Senate Republicans split right now, Senator, over whether to allow tax hikes on wealthy Americans as a part of that budget bill that you're trying to pass. Bloomberg News is reporting that the House proposal would set the rate at 40% for taxpayers earning $1 million or more per year. That's up from the current top tax rate of 37%. Senator, would you support increase?
God, I love these guys, man. Maybe he is a MAGA communist, bro. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe Trump is a fucking MAGA communist. Who knows, dude? JD Pondon, dude. My face when I hear that Trump wants to raise the tax rate for some of the most productive Americans. Are you telling me Trump wants to punish jobs providers?
Increasing the tax rate on wealthy Americans?
Not sure yet. I'd like to see the language. Here are my thoughts, Kristen, generally. I don't believe in making tax policy on the basis of class warfare. Mm-hmm. And I think the people who are raising this issue, they're entitled to, of course, but they're asking the wrong question. I listened under President Biden.
Dog, all tax policy is on the basis of class warfare, dipshit. I mean, you know that already, though. I like that he's saying, you know, the Trump administration entertaining this is like a woke campus radical, you know? They're being quite extremist about this. Let me tell you. I'll have you know. I would love for Trump to do that. That would be amazing. I don't think it's going to happen.
Biden, my Democratic colleagues for 4 years asked, who needs to pay more in taxes? That, to me, is the wrong question. The right question is what the hell happened to the money? And I hope that's the question that we address fundamentally in the reconciliation.
But, Senator, it sounds like you're leaving the door open to the possibility that you could ultimately, at some point, support an increase in taxes if you thought it was the best way to get that budget bill over the finish line?
Well, we're in the process of putting the bill together. And here's what will probably happen. The House and the Senate will spend about, I don't know, hopefully no more than 60 days trying to reach a consensus. Everything's on the table. Mm-hmm. We won't reach a consensus. And then we'll have to go to the White House and meet with the president. And after a few hugs and a cup of hot cocoa, the president will arbitrate here and say this is in and this is out. And then he's going to have to put his muscle behind it to pass it. But this bill is important. It's our way of lowering prices. You lower prices by cutting spending, by deregulating the economy, and by designing a tax code that looks like somebody designed it on purpose in a way that stimulates growth so wages go up.
Senator,
and that's my objective.
We are almost out of time, but as you know, tensions have been mounting between the president and the Fed chair. Would you support President Trump removing Jerome Powell as Fed chair?
I don't think any president, has the right to remove the Federal Reserve chairman. I think the Federal Reserve ought to be independent. I think that Jay Powell and President Trump need to sit down and once again have a hug and a cup of hot cocoa and work it out. My experience with Jay Powell is that he's got tiger blood. He's going to do what he thinks is right. And he's not going to go down in history as the Federal Reserve chairman that allowed inflation to become wild as a March hare. And he's going to do what he thinks he's got to do.
All right, Senator Kennedy, thank you so much. I want to wish you and your family a very happy Easter. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.
Just hours.
Why hasn't Trump fired Jerome Powell? What do you think? Couple reasons. Because it will collapse the economy even further. Ya tamam baba git, önemli değil. Hayır değil. I think that it would be unwise.
Before the Supreme Court stopped the administration from deporting a group of Venezuelans using the centuries-old Alien Enemies Act, the president's border czar was fiercely defending the law's use. I spoke with Tom Homan Friday and began by asking him about Senator Van Hollen's meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Senator Van Hollen has obviously got a chance to meet with him, but he had to travel to El Salvador to get any information. Does that concern you at all? I mean, these are people sent by the United, I mean, in his case, sent by the United States, and not even a U.S. senator could get any information about his whereabouts or the condition of his incarceration without actually going down and making the trip to El Salvador himself?
Well, he obviously knew his whereabouts because he went there to see him. But you know what bothers me more than that is a U.S. senator traveled to El Salvador on taxpayer dime to meet with an MS-13 gang member, public safety threat, terrorist. I mean, in the meantime, the day before he traveled, an illegal alien was arrested.
You're a terrorist. You're the actual public safety threat and a terrorist. And also so ugly that I think we should just deport you on the basis of that. Tom Homan should be jailed simply for the crime of looking the way he does. And before people say, Hassan, Tom Homan might not hear what you have to say, but my friend that looks like Tom Homan will. No one else looks like Tom Homan, okay? This is a very unique look. Is your friend Baron Harkonnen? No? Then shut the fuck up, okay? For who said Tectone does? Okay, well, Tectone can hear it too. I don't care.
For murder were released to the streets rather than honoring an ICE detainer in his very own state. What concerns me is Van Hollen never went to the border the last 4 years on Joe Biden when he had a 600% increase in sex trafficking in women and children. You have a record number of no-inspected terrorists crossing that border. You had 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl overdose because of the open border. You got over 4,000 illegal aliens died making that journey, which is an historic record. What shocks me is he's remained silent on the travesty that happened on our southern border. Many people died. Thousands of people died. I've met with hundreds of angel moms and dads who buried their children that were murdered by an illegal alien. How many angel moms and dads has he met in the state of Maryland? That's what concerns me.
He says that he has done this because the issue here is due process, and it's following a court order. The Supreme Court has said that the administration needs to facilitate his return so he could get through, have his chance at due process.
I think, and I understand the facilitate, but he's also in custody. He's a citizen and national of the country of El Salvador. El Salvador would certainly have to cooperate in that. But again, I'm on the loop on that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not litigating this case. We'll do whatever the law says we have to do. And what I think, I stand by the fact I think we did the right thing here. We removed a public safety threat, a national security threat, a violent gang member from the United States. ICE intelligence says he's MS-13 gang member. A confidential informant says he's MS-13 gang member. The country of El Salvador says he's an MS-13 gang member. I think he's exactly where he should be.
But you said that El Salvador would have to cooperate. You have no doubt that if President Trump wanted him returned, that he could ask President Bukele to return him, right? I mean, President Trump could make this happen.
I can't comment on something I don't know. I can't
But
comment.
what do you think? I mean, you know President.
I'm not involved in.
I mean, you know President Trump. You've talked about how, he can get things done. I mean, if he wanted the guy returned, he could get him returned, right?
I do. I'm not going to comment on conversations I'm not a part of. I don't know what conversations they're having, who's having what conversation, what officials. I'm not in the loop on that.
So more broadly, let me ask you. I know you're a law guy. You've sworn.
Amazing. This is amazing. I love that this is the argument now. You've fucking lost it if your argument is, oh, the all-powerful American government simply has no motion to fucking demand the return of someone who has been shipped away to El Salvador, in spite of the fact that we have done it time and time again throughout American history. Like, false deportations take place, even with due process, and we have brought back people that we falsely deported. I like that the argument from this administration, especially of all administrations, is, nah, we just have no motion. We have no power over the nation of El Salvador.
An oath to uphold the Constitution. You did that through your entire career. The general principle I want to ask you is, do you agree that the Constitution extends, those constitutional rights that we all have, extend to every person in the United States? Every person, no matter what crime they're accused of or no matter their legal status?
And we have followed the Constitution. We have followed the law. I am confident that everything we've done is follow the law and is within the constitutional constructs. Absolutely.
And so that right of due process is something, the Fifth Amendment right of due process extends to everybody who would be deported. Well, they have a chance to have a hearing on this.
The length of due process is not the same under the Alien Enemies Act. That's why the Alien Enemies Act was created. President Trump invoked the authorities he had of the Alien Enemies Act, an act written and passed by Congress and signed by a president. We're using the laws on the books, the statutes on the books, to secure the border and remove significant public safety threats and national security threats to this country.
But let me get more specific on this. The Supreme Court has long held that constitutional rights extend to every person in the United States. Justice Scalia, a majority opinion that he wrote back in 1993, wrote, "It is well established that the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process of law in deportation proceedings." Are you saying that by invoking the Alien Enemies Act that undocumented immigrants are not entitled to those due process rights under the Fifth Amendment?
Well, I'm saying the procedure under the Alien Enemies Act is less than it is during a Title VIII removal proceeding, and we're following the rules of the Alien Enemies Act. Again, I think this administration has followed the law. They're using statutes enacted by Congress, signed by a president, to remove the terrorists from this country. I'm not saying, I'm not arguing over here that nobody should get due process. I'm just saying there's a different process under the Alien Enemies Act, less of a process than you see through Title VIII.
Let me ask you, do you have any qualms about sending people to that notorious prison in El Salvador with no assurance that they will ever have a chance to get out? People that have no record, have not been convicted of any violent crimes. Do you have any qualms about that?
I believe we're removing public safety threats and terrorists, designated terrorists, to that prison in El Salvador. Funday, our MS-30 has been designated a terrorist organization. What you don't know, what most readers don't know, they haven't seen the experience what I've seen in my 40 years. I started in Boca in 1984. I've talked to young girls, young as 9, that were raped by members of these gang cartels. I've held dead bodies throughout my career. I've talked to 100 angel moms and dads whose children were killed and brutally murdered by members of MS-13 who just didn't kill them. They mutilated them, they tortured them. So if people wore my shoes for the last 40 years and seen the travesties I've seen, they would understand that the worst of the worst need to be sent to a prison like that, because we got to protect American citizens, we got to protect this country.
And you're saying there's no mistakes? No mistakes, that everybody's sent to this prison, again, with no guarantee of any right to have a chance to challenge their imprisonment, any prospect of release. And they didn't go through a full, and none of these people, as you've acknowledged, have gone through a full trial.
You need to read the Alien Enemies Act. We follow the Alien Enemies Act, and you're talking like it's a Title VIII removal. It isn't a Title VIII removal. That's a different procedure.
Yeah, so you're acknowledging without
Congress,
without
Alien Enemies Act.
So no extended proceedings, no chance to prove their innocence. Somebody's got a bad tattoo.
I'm telling
somebody's
you, we can go.
Been accused. I mean, you acknowledge tattoos are part of the calculation here. I mean, you might have a tattoo.
There's one factor out of many factors. I worked. Have you been in an alien gang squad? Because I have. Tattoos are one of many factors that's going to determine someone's gang. It's not the only one. You can't say, okay, tattoo gang member. No, there's other indicia that's added to that tattoo. Tattoo is one factor that adds to other factors to make that determination. What I'm saying is you can't ignore a tattoo. That's one more factor that leads you to believe maybe he's a gang member. It's just not based on tattoos. It's based on a lot of other things, but tattoo's one of many. But no one's removed just because of a tattoo.
In other words, the Alien Enemies Act means you can grab somebody and you can deport them without an extended hearing because you have labeled them a terrorist. Because you've said you've determined that somebody is a member of the gang, and therefore they don't have to go through the extended process of the opportunity to have a full hearing. That's what you're saying. And let's just be clear.
I'm saying we're following the laws of this country, and there's a different procedure for each one. We're doing things within the frame of the law. We're doing things legally.
Okay.
I stand by that. Now, again, I'm not a constitutional scholar. I'm not going to argue this in court. That's what the Department of Justice does. But I'm sitting here today thinking we've done the right thing for this nation, following the laws and the Constitution of this country.
All right, Tom Homan, the Trump administration's borders are. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
The White House responded to the Supreme Court's temporary hold on the use of the Alien Enemies Act in a statement from Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, saying in part, "We are confident in the lawfulness of the administration's actions and in ultimately prevailing against an onslaught of meritless litigation brought by radical activists who care more about the rights of terrorist aliens than those of the American people."
Technology, online culture, journalists.
So the Supreme Court that came down with this decision is actually a bunch of radical activist judges, I guess. Now, who isn't a fucking radical activist judge, bro? Is there anyone that's not a radical activist judge? By the way, the Vietnamese bot channel, did it again. They wrote, Texas high school violence case exposed, Hasanabi reacts. In the thumbnail, they said clearly self-defense. 56-minute video. If you watched my actual commentary on this issue, you would know that I did not say it's clearly self-defense. As a matter of fact, I said it's unclear if it is self-defense. That was my point. Having said that, I don't have all of the information or all of the details. It could very well be self-defense. Now, 56 minutes long because we don't know if it is actually considered self-defense or not. Having said that, because it actually fucking pissed off all of the worst Nazis, it's awesome, and I'll allow it. You know what I mean? I watched a few analysis videos from self-defense lawyers on YouTube. They all used the Texas legal code to show that it was clearly murder. There were multiple clear cut instances of provocation which automatically rule out self-defense. Hey, Hassan the Hun, timer started. It has to be done. Yes, dude. This guy, OX Burnt, is going to fucking come and kill me. Like, dude whose fucking account has this PFP is going to murder me. Yeah, it is the bot account. Yeah, that would be the weakest way to go out. I'm not going to lie. Getting clapped by a pedophile lolly enjoyer would be truly a bad way to go. I'm gonna be honest. At least they can't hurt anyone while they're busy arguing with a picture of a thumbnail on Twitter. Yeah. I'm gonna get to the Pete League in a second. What is the deal with that wrestler clip? It's not a wrestler. He is a pedophile Nazi, ironically enough, by the name of Sam Hyde, who lost his comedy career before it could take off, really, because of his love for doing both pedophilia and defending Nazis. And he was doing for the laws for like a year and a half, talking about how he's gonna kill me, how he's gonna murder me. He was interviewed after his boxing fight and was like, Hassan Piker, I'm gonna kill you. And the Nazi fans that he has always love bringing that up because it's not like they're gonna go outside. But they sit around and hope that maybe one day someone who does go outside will come and kill me or something. I don't fucking know. Very weird stuff. Yeah, he should be worried about heart disease instead. That's what he should be really worried about. Who said this? The pedophile neo-Nazi Sam Hyde. Check out the top comment on your kneecap IG post. I don't see it. It's just Palestine related stuff. What is the comment that you're referencing? The Cumboys used to be cool with Sam. It's weird how you can still be friends with them when they were friends with Sam. I wonder if the content cop said anything about this in regards to a certain content creator. What do you mean? Content cop said anything about this in regards to a certain content creator? Adam is still friends too. I don't think so. I don't know where you guys get this from. I'd be shocked. I saw him on a pod recently. I did not know that. Have you ever noticed how each member of Cumtown represents id ego and super ego? I have taken to calling them the brothers Kumazov. Adam was on his podcast like a year and a half to 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't think that he was recently on his podcast or anything like that. Ethan cut off Ian over his friendship with Denims and others. In the content cop, Ian brings up this with Steiny and Ethan said and Tate. Yeah. I think that there was, this is before I met the boys, but I think that there was a point where they were homies, but I don't think they are anymore. Well, I have no idea. And it would shock me if they still were. You covered how Ethan discussed the Nazi pedophile, right? Yeah, I heard that he was like defending him.
A joke in the video or not?
You know what's funny? I genuinely think that
Bathrobe Bowling, thank you for the 25 good subs.
Sam Hyde broke Ian. And when he told me, he was like, he came and he
was
like,
such a bizarre chapter.
He says, I'm doing a documentary on Sam Hyde. I told him, and Anissa was here. I said, that's a huge mistake. Do not do it. You guys, I don't know who, I said, do not do it. Like, trust me. Because Sam's the type of guy who's going to get the best of you, really, no matter what. And it turns out he did. And he's even crazier than Ian anticipated.
Right.
He absolutely, I think it just broke him. And I mean, Sam Hyde's like super ultra right. So maybe he's just, I don't know. I'm like Sam Hyde now, apparently.
What do you mean? He's super ultra right. He is just straight up a fucking prominent neo-Nazi and a pedophile. He's not just ultra right.
I was talking about it in
I don't think Sam thinks very highly of Jewish people either. So I don't know.
I was talking about it in the office the other day, but I didn't know who Sam Hyde was until iDubbbz brought him back in the spotlight.
That's it.
I think a lot of people didn't know who he was, and he kind of brought him back into the limelight, and kind of now he's like popular again.
Yeah, he's popping. And that's all thanks to Ian. Now, I'll say Sam is an extraordinarily funny guy that inspired me a lot when I was coming up. But he's also like, he's just a little crazy. That's, and also like extremely right wing.
Bro, I feel like he's beating a dead horse at this point, but like Ethan Klein does not care about anti-Semitism even a little bit. He said, yeah, he's just an extremely right-wing guy. Dude, he's a fucking Nazi. What do you mean? Like, for Ethan Klein, the CEO of Twitch is a Nazi, but Sam Hyde is just an extremely right-wing guy. I am a vicious anti-Semite. I'm a vicious anti-Semite. And he has more charitability for fucking Sam Hyde. What the fuck? He used to hate Sam Hyde. This is like, ironically enough, one of the things that, like, all of the neo-Nazis that despised Ethan for being Jewish for years and years and years, many of them are Sam Hyde fans, as a matter of fact, hated me too. We had the same fucking doxers and swatters. How the fuck did this happen? Defending Holocaust deniers that attack anti-Semites, yeah.
And potentially a Nazi as well. Potentially a Nazi. I mean, he had when he did the world...
Potentially? Brother, what do you mean potentially a fucking Nazi? Wait, someone sent me... Okay, I just want to look at something. Because someone said that Ethan was claiming that I was a Nazi because of the bleach sword that I have that apparently has the reverse... The reverse swastika, which is not a swastika, but that's besides the point. Like the fucking famous the bleach katana that I have, they were lasering in on it. I want to hear what he had to say. I want to hear what his statement was about that.
Peace show. There was a sketch where it was just a bunch of kids going,
Yes, Zach and Dan called you out. That's so Dan.
Jews. We love Jewish people. And I was like, this makes me very uncomfortable. But that's that. Sam Hyde, congratulations. You did break Ian's brain. So, that looked like a swastika in the video. I know it was an anime thing, but maybe we'll be a little more careful.
I said that this morning too.
Let me pull that up. I know that the chances that they did on purpose is close to zero, right? So I'm not accusing them, but like, just be a little more aware.
Dan said you're vile. What the fuck?
Next time.
Why would they have that though? Like, I feel like you buy that, you take one look at it, you go, "Ugh."
I got no clue.
Well, it's not actually a swastika. It just looks like a swastika.
Pretty damn
right?
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's from
It's from an
Bleach.
anime.
Can you send it?
Oh, it's from Bleach. Okay.
Oh.
Like to bleach my mind of this video.
I'm not gonna say that they're
But
most
yeah,
genocide.
probably should have picked a different katana for the
Like
photo.
Ian posted this to Twitter, okay, with a katana. Not
I mean-
racist guy, not racist.
Listen, he's just embracing his new audience.
With the least anti-Semitic people on Twitch.
Yeah.
Zoom in on the.
There's a clip of you they show where you say you don't watch the show. I don't. I've read the mangas, but I've never watched the actual anime. And I stopped reading the mangas a long ass time ago.
Hilt. That is a fucking uncomfortable similarity to a swastika.
It's a warm
To Kyle-
welcome to his new audience, Ethan.
Wait, how is that not a swastika? That's almost like it's doing the whole motion.
is.
I guess it is a swastika. It's
Wait, hold on.
not. It's not like a Nazi swastika.
No, it's
swastika's originally from Asia.
So,
like,
so wait, what's the name of the sword? So I want to see what it looks like in the cartoon.
Oh, I don't.
It
looks this- I could never-
I bought this on stream, dude. What are we talking about? I bought this at Anime Expo on stream. Here's the VOD. You bought him on stream? Yeah. Fuck, I don't even fuck with Bleach like that, but it's sick.
It is a cool sword. Let's see it. He's even holding it.
I literally say right here, I don't even fuck with Bleach like that, but the sword is sick.
the right way.
It's hard to take out though because it's got like the. No, I'm not holding it here. This is how you're supposed to hold it. Remember?
Come on, chat, remember.
This way you can't even do this. You can't do this because it gets stuck. Yeah, this sword is the Chicago Bulls hat of being anti-Israel. This is longer than a regular. It's sick. I want to get this. I want to get the Chicago. All right. Just can you give a watchful eye over my? Can you give a watchful eye over my manga?
Those would never get stolen in Japan.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Dan got clips sent to him. Dug up moments of you saying you don't even like Bleach. Where they got these convenience clips so quickly? Who could say? Yeah, this is. I mean, here's another clip of me literally purchasing it because I think it looks cool because it's a long sword and it has like a little dangly thing. I have it prominently placed on my wall, but it's not in the streaming room. Like, I don't know why so many of my fucking naysayers will just like look at something that I have volunteered and then try to make it into like a controversy. It's whenever people are like, Hassan, you have an affluent beginning and you're privileged and your uncle is Cenk Uygur. You are a nepotism recipient. And then they'll be like, and here he admits it. And it's just me talking about all of those things. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, dude, why would I be fucking embarrassed by this? I'm not. This is my life. This is something that I have volunteered myself. Why do you think this is like some hidden secret? You're the only dumbass who thinks this is a hidden secret. Same with like me purchasing this Bleach katana, knowing well that it's a katana for Bleach that I am not that interested in terms of the anime itself, but I think the fucking katana is cool. It looks dope. Why would I be fucking ashamed of any of this? It's funny thinking you are sneakily anti-Semitic when you could make $1 trillion by being really anti-Semitic, like all the other dudes. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the other side of this, where it's like, at this point, there is no more fucking safeguards on unlimited anti-Semitism. If I was fucking anti-Semitic, I would just say it. Get a fucking larger audience, as a matter of fact, constantly noticing things. You know what I mean? Why would I trap myself in a fucking bind where people are like desperate to hear anti-Semitism from me? I'd just fucking cave into it if that's something I personally believed in. It's such a stupid. Yeah, the reason why I brought this up, by the way, is because I wanted to see what he had to say about this. as opposed to Sam Hyde, who was like, he's a really far right kind of guy.
Never get into Bleach.
I just
if I'm
want to
being
see it
honest.
for reference.
Same,
Fake,
I never
fake
watched.
weeb over here.
Bleach. I'll say Bleach Nazi sword.
Katana.
Bleach Nazi sword.
Whose sword is this? Is it Hassan's?
Yeah, that's
assume
Hassan's
so. Yeah,
The
Hassan's
thing
a
is,
big
like,
weeb,
you can't
so.
own this and have it and like have it out without being like, this looks like a swastika.
Yeah,
Or
totally.
do you think that now that it's been pointed out that he should remove the photo at least? Take it down?
No.
Bro, I like that immediately. The first thing is like, let's remove this photo, please. Like, it's always policing content, okay? For defenders of Israel, it's just one note, one speed. Can we get this taken down, please? Eve, fat law. Like, there's never been, I'm serious. There's never been a moment in my life where I'm like, this bothers me. I'm going to call the manager and demand that this person is removed. Like, how ridiculous. How is that the first? How is that always the first speed here? Jesus Christ.
He's not going to.
It's just, I don't
That's a fucking
I'm harassing
Come
him.
on, dude.
It's very close.
I mean, I guess objectively it is the shape of a swastika, but I think the intent has nothing to do with Nazi Germany.
The Nazis have ruined that symbol. You can't just be like, oh, well, you know.
Let me ask you this. Is Hassan a huge fan of Bleach? Does he have a reason to have this
Probably,
board?
right? I mean,
I've
that's a
never heard
popular
him
one.
talk about it in my entire life.
Well, how much you watching, you know?
Well, hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look.
He watches
Hassan
a lot of
Piker,
Tiger, and that is a very popular one. I could never get into it. I don't know.
I
don't
tried
get
it
the
too. I
appeal.
didn't like it.
I'm with.
Why is it that in there, they do these investigations, but they couldn't figure out where I bought this katana? The policing of people to talk to and the content to consume, they're like a toxic ex. No, it's just like, this is something that happens with supporters of Israel. They think that they think that they run shit no matter what. Literally, straight up. Do you think that if you were a huge Bleach fan that Ethan would be charitable towards your sword ownership? No. I did this fucking on 2023, 2 years ago. I did this because I wanted to leave anti-Semitic breadcrumbs for my podcast co-host at the time, eventually to find years later on a fucking multiple month extended crash out. This is one of the many breadcrumbs, dude. It's because I own the media. It's me. I own it. It's clue time. Oh, I can't believe we figured it out. I wanted to maintain plausible deniability. But yeah, that's the face you make when you're like, ooh, my plan.
Go buy a bunch of swords.
I got you, King.
Oh, guts. You don't know what that is. That's
Berserk.
Berserk.
Let's say we entertain this insane theory they have. This would still be one of the dumbest way to do subtle anti-Semitism. Yeah. Yeah.
With you, Dan, it sucks.
It sucks, right?
Find
it's boring.
Find one instance of him talking about the show Bleach.
Okay.
Is there any mention of the Jewish people in that
I
show?
just don't know that you can.
I don't think
In the context of these people that talk about Israel and Palestine.
Somebody should have looked at the photo and been like,
come on, dude. Come on. Like, no, first of all, these people are very cognizant of what can even be considered anti-Semitic and used against them. Like, yeah, they very clearly didn't think it through. They weren't like, they didn't look at it and go, this looks like a swastika. You know? It's fucking ridiculous.
hey, maybe that.
This is really perverse. They are retroactively trying to prove anti-Semitism. No, that's what's funny about this is that like the entire process here is done to scratch the surface of my secret anti-Semitic tendencies. And it's pretty funny to do that. Like, it's pretty funny to dedicate any amount of time to something like this. When in fact, Ethan also says I'm literally a vile anti-Semite all the time. Why is it? Why is it that like this is the one moment where you finally found convincing evidence? You know what I mean? You've already been calling me a vicious anti-Semite over and over again. It makes no sense. You already got it, man. You got me. You said I'm a vicious anti-Semite for fucking months before this, so I don't think he likes you, to be honest. Yeah.
This is probably a bad call.
Well, he's goofed around with the sword, right? He's goofed around the sword. He's seen it. He's seen it.
It's still up.
Damn, this guy's good.